with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Talking about Alzheimer's can be really tough, but if you notice something, have a conversation with your loved one. Encourage them to see a doctor or offer to go with them. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. The Alzheimer's Association provides care, support, and research to help you take control of the situation with your family and manage the disease together. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. Visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Did you know that AmeriCorps programs improve lives, strengthen communities, and foster civic engagement in Nebraska? For example, AmeriCorps members serving with Conservation Nebraska provide valuable environmental education and practical tips people can use to maintain Nebraska's natural beauty and live more sustainable lives. Discover more about AmeriCorps programs making a difference in your community at serve.nebraska.gov. Paid for by Serve Nebraska, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Omaha Maverick Hockey is back home at Baxter Arena this weekend as they welcome Arizona State. You can listen to the games this weekend on News Talk 1290 Coil. It's UNO versus Arizona State on your home for Maverick Hockey. News Talk 1290 Coil.
It takes hard work to make Nebraska the right place to raise a family, build a business, or grow a community. We're counting on working parents to make it happen, and they're counting on childcare professionals to have their backs. Employers and other contributors can earn up to a $100,000 tax credit for strengthening childcare in our communities and state. Learn more at nebraskachildcaretaxcredit.org. Brought to you by First 5 Nebraska and Nebraska Children and Families Foundation and aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
He's coming. Surprise! Your table saw broke. Also, the warranty expired weeks ago, so you need to pay for a new one out of pocket.
At Progressive, we know small business owners don't usually like surprises because they cost you money. But a good surprise that could save you money? Getting a commercial auto quote from Progressive.
Oh, and the replacement part you ordered doesn't fit, so it's completely useless.
Surprise yourself. See if you can save in as little as 7 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
1620 The Zone. Live from 50th and Capitol Avenue in the Big O. This is Gary and Matt on 1620 The Zone. 1620thezone.com and 1620 The Zone TV. Now,
all right, coming to you live on a Thursday morning on the radio. That's the place to be because you know what? We got you all covered. Radio, digital, in person, wherever you want to be. You got Gary and Matt with Jimmy. Welcome, everybody, on a Thursday morning. All of a sudden, a jam-packed Thursday morning.
Yeah.
Yesterday was like drinking out of a faucet with all the stuff that was going on. Of course, we had a little football news in Lincoln. Then we had some more football news. Then we had some late-night football news. We had winner chicken dinner. Backdoor cover really wasn't a backdoor cover.
No,
it was just it was a 8 o'clock game last night downtown.
That's pretty accurate. That's how I sounded.
That was a yawn. That was the empty seat that had a blue towel in it at the chai last night at about
there was a lot
9:35 going, sleepy. But Creighton was kind of sleepy except for one guy. They win last night, so they hit 20, and now they're off to Cincinnati. A win is a win, right?
Mm-hmm.
A win is a win. A win is a win. Ask Dusty May.
The only thing that I could think about last night was, wow, this game really should have been dollar beer night. That was really the only.
And probably that's what it was going to be, but there was such a push internally, which I was okay. You know, get the juiced up even more for the UConn game. But yeah, you're right. Last night would have been the, hey, gates open at 6:30 till 8, maybe 8:15.
Yeah.
Just pound those dollar beers and get after it.
Honestly, I think they would have extended it till 9. I mean, that's
Might
just
have
how that.
So
game
you were
was.
at the game last night, right?
I did not go.
Oh.
No.
Yeah, he told me that earlier.
I declined. I am supposed to go on the road today. We'll see if that works out, but I am supposed to.
Whoa, you're going home to Chicago. What happened?
I am going home to Chicago. It's just
You're not super excited to go home?
I'm
Move
just
back in your old
part
bedroom?
Of me is,
That's how I
okay,
used to be.
so part of me is like kind of debating.
I don't even have a home.
Like
my boyhood home is like.
Yeah, We're getting there because they're going to be empty nesters pretty soon.
Oh,
and we
how are they
going
to handle that?
Terribly. I really? Anticipate it's going to be a real
Cup season tickets.
Yeah, but
telling you, mom's moving to Omaha.
No.
I will welcome her with open arms.
I would no, Jimmy. You are not allowed to welcome my mother with open arms.
Why not?
You're not allowed.
She
to
seems like a
welcome her with
nice
any
person.
arms. She's a great gal.
We welcome Dad too.
It wasn't like he can make a move on her. She's married.
I mean,
no. We're just thinking about show mom.
When another man goes, I'm going to welcome your mother with open arms. What do you think that means?
What do you think he got some Ole Miss in him?
I mean, I was about to say, have you seen what's happening in the news? Nothing's off the table.
I've never been to the Grove.
I think some things are off the table. We have to be fair here. It's not open season on everything. Like
I don't know,
hot wipes and things like that. Come on. It's not. We do have some guardrails.
We have some decorum here in Omaha.
And then I think we have so much decorum that somebody threw a lemon on the floor last night at the Creighton DePaul game.
Someone threw a rat on the floor of the Maryland-Michigan State game yesterday.
Like a real rat?
Yeah.
Not like South Florida?
We you know what? We only have another day left in February after today.
Yeah,
and I think people, it's the sleepy sports month. We've been removed for a while from the Super Bowl. I think people are a little bit on edge before we get to the true madness. Mm-hmm. So yeah, you had the incident last night where how many surrender Cobras did you see in the crowd after Trey Holloman hit the half-court shot to win the game?
Incredible. By the way, that guy, talk about a guy who's been clutch for the last couple of games of Michigan State Spartans. Trey Holloman has been absolutely incredible.
There is, and Michigan State has kind of established themselves as the team to beat.
Oh yeah,
and whatever that means when you get to March Madness. But there was a stat that was shared on that broadcast last night. The last 3 games, I think Michigan State hasn't allowed a field goal in the last 4 minutes of 3 straight games.
I did not.
They
That's
flashed
crazy.
that stat, and I was like, hello. But Maryland, I mean, we have an epidemic. Let me just.
Yeah, go ahead. Go on.
There's a couple of things about college basketball last night.
Go ahead. I'll give you the runway.
One, I'm going to beat this drum until my drum falls apart, is this idea that we schedule college basketball games in 2-hour windows is absolutely ridiculous. Okay? Give me 2:15. Sometimes we got to go to 2:30. That's why the 11 a.m. tip-off on Saturday and Sunday is the best, because you know that you are starting on time. But we have that problem. We also have an end-of-the-game problem. Like Vanderbilt, Texas A&M, end of the game took forever.
I was about to say, I literally ordered food, went to pick up food. Huh. There was 10 minutes left in the Vanderbilt, Texas A&M game. I go over, it wasn't a short time to do that. I pick up the food. I come back. And at this point, I'm expecting the Vanderbilt, Texas game to be over. There was 9 minutes left when I left. There was 2 minutes left when I got back.
What'd you get for food?
Chicken wings.
Nice.
From?
The little place.
What's the little place?
It's the place that's right where I live.
I don't hang out where you live.
Because if I say it, then people
down there.
will know.
They don't have any streetlights.
Yes. No, they don't have any streetlights. I actually told somebody I filled up my gas in a certain area over there, and they're like, "Oh, don't do that again, or don't do that at night." But yeah.
Went to a party at 36th in California back in the day. Somebody pulled a revolver out, and I was like, "Nah, I'm good. Oh. I like the taco shop there."
That was like high school.
I like California tacos, but I like California tacos during the daylight. So back to basketball.
Yeah.
The Big Blue Nation lost it last night. So Vanderbilt, Texas A&M ran long. I mean, that last couple of minutes of that game, and Vandy pulled off an upset, went forever. The Kentucky-Oklahoma game, which was a banger at the end. By the way, something you brought up yesterday about former players beating their old team. OU got beat by a former Sooner, but the Kentucky-Oklahoma game didn't make it to air on the channel that it was supposed to be on. Now remember, Vanderbilt, Texas A&M didn't go into multiple overtimes. There were 7 minutes to go in the first half. So we have that problem in college basketball. We also have a problem of nobody can finish at the rim. Like Maryland last night could not, and Michigan State did something in that game where you don't see very often with Maryland, because they got Reese and Queen down low, is they kind of bullied them. But Maryland couldn't finish at the rim, and then Michigan State couldn't finish at the rim. And then I'm watching all around college basketball. I watched the South Dakota, North Dakota State game. Nobody can finish at the rim, whether, I understand if it's contested, but even if it's there's a defender in the neighborhood, People can't make layups anymore.
Yeah, I know. Well, watch a Nebraska game. I mean, it was the same thing as well. I mean, Julian Reese turned into Angel Reese yesterday at some points. That's how bad it was.
That good or bad?
With how he couldn't finish around the rim.
Oh.
Unfortunately for him, though, he couldn't finish. He was like his sister, couldn't finish around the rim. Michigan State, though, yesterday, one hell of a game plan. Tom Izzo, every time that Maryland got into the paint, you had 4 different Spartan defenders crashing in on them. They absolutely dominated on the perimeter, especially like to close the end of that game. They forced Gillespie and Rice to put up bad shots. It was when Tom Izzo said in the postgame, I know that was a lucky shot, but we deserved to win that game. He was talking about his team's effort. He was also talking about his coaching effort. I mean, they were locked in on Maryland, and it was one hell of a shot at the end of the game to win that one.
Does it matter with Tom Izzo, who is one of the good guys in the industry, and of course the all-time winningest coach in the Big Ten, that he hasn't won a title since 2000?
I feel like with college basketball,
the Big Ten is
25-year anniversary.
I feel like when you win one, like winning one is really, really hard. I feel like when you win one, like you kind of establish yourself as like, hey, I'm a pretty damn good coach and I'm winning year in and year out. And like the NCAA tournament turns into such a crapshoot sometimes where it's like you just don't know like what's going to happen with all the upsets and the matchups you get. Like it's so random, which is why it's so great. But no, I don't think that reflects negatively on him because year in and year out, until fairly recently, but now you have this resurgence. But like from that time up to now, like they've been 1 seeds, they've been 2 seeds, they've been winning in the Big Ten, they've been consistently at the top of college basketball. So no, I don't think it impedes his resume that he hasn't won one in 25 years. At the same time, if you want to start comparing resumes and start calling him the greatest ever or something like that, I do think that just having one might, go against that. But in terms of him all time, I don't.
Yeah, won't the GOAT in the Big Ten always be Bobby?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's
just what it is.
It's one of those, we're in a ring society.
Mm-hmm.
What's more like, whoa, didn't know that, didn't realize that. Tom Izzo only has 1 national championship, and Aaron Rodgers only has 1 Super Bowl win.
Yeah. No, it's wow.
Mm-hmm.
I like Izzo way more than I like Aaron Rodgers.
Most people do.
But Aaron Rodgers, you would think, has multiple Super Bowls the way that he acts and is treated.
And you would think
he's Mahomes.
And you would think with how highly regarded we talk about Tom Izzo, that he probably has 3, or at least 2, not just 1. I think it's a great insight. But at the same time, it's a little bit of there are different professions in the bit that, like, I don't think the NFL is as random, as is the NCAA tournament. And Aaron Rodgers has had way more opportunities with better teams, with a less random playoff, to go in and cement more of a legacy than Tom Izzo. I mean, Tom Izzo has produced great teams and great players so much in his career to the point where you just get to the dance and it's like, oh, okay, it was another team's day. Rodgers has had some major failures systematically year in and year out.
A little bit of Bears just trickled out in that.
I mean, how many
hot take?
How many NFC Championship games in Lambeau has Aaron Rodgers lost?
Hey, I'm on record about my thoughts on Rodgers.
I mean, what is it? 3? Is it 3, Jimmy?
Tampa Bay. Let's see. He lost in Seattle.
Not in the NFC Championship game, but he lost in San Francisco.
Yeah.
He's lost a lot of home.
And he lost
in those cold weather games, those snow weather games in Green Bay, where the Packers are supposed to be built for it. He's lost some of those games.
The Giants have won 2 of them.
Yes. All right. Coming up on the show, lineup brought to you by the referees at John Higgins Weather Guard. Sarah Baker Hansel will stop by at 8. Get your food game right. Get your food bag attached. Steve Sipple is in at 9:15. How was he yesterday?
He was good. I did not.
Our reporter went down to Lincoln. He was back in his element. Good reporter.
Thank you.
Down there talking
Rolled out
to
the red carpet.
Talking to the coaches. Who think about Rule, who has kind of turned over his staff. He's got 7 new full-time assistant coaches. He's got 3 new coordinators. He's now got a brand new GM. The NFL has come to Lincoln. The one thing I do appreciate, because I got plenty of thoughts of stuff that Rule said on the podcast with Urban Meyer, and then what coaches said yesterday. The one thing I do appreciate, because we're in a fan base and a media core that likes ball, is there are coaches for the most part. Donnie's not a guy that's going to get on the podium and wax poetic and talk and talk and talk. But for the most part, all of Rule's hires have been really good just talking ball. Like they don't rely on tons of cliches. And I really enjoyed Phil Snow, Phil Simpson, and DeKale Shorts yesterday because they talk ball.
You can tell there was a personality behind all three of them, and we can get into it. My thoughts and whatever. But I do agree with that. Like, Donnie's pretty close to the chest, and I think if we're talking about the media trained coaches, he's probably at the top of the list. But for the most part, they're if you ask them about football and you just ask them about philosophy and you just ask them about like how they approach things, they're very open to doing it because they love football and they love to talk about that stuff. And there definitely is I want to hear it out loud. I want to hear myself say this out loud type deal because, there are times where you say things out loud and you explain why you do stuff. And then maybe when you hear it in your own ears, you're like, maybe I should change that. Or maybe that's not the right way of doing it. Now, if you tell them, hey, or ask them, hey, who's starting here? Or what's the depth chart like? Or, they're not going to give you the answer that you want. But you're absolutely right. In terms of talking about football, I mean, he hires football guys. Matt Rule loves football, and there's really not a ton of like flashy lights or anything with these coaches.
What would be the opposite of hiring a non-football guy?
Well,
just a Joe off the street?
Yeah.
Who gets up there and he's like, hey, what's going on? Hey, Steve Simple. Hey, I follow you on Twitter.
I mean, there have been some people who are like that, who definitely are like pointing out, hey, what's going on?
Circle,
what's up, everybody?
X.
Yeah, I mean, so
R2.
We'll always have yards per play. We'll always have that to lean back on. So Simple Joan is coming up at 9:15. Brian Edwards stops by at 9:45. That's the lineup brought to you by the Rooferys at John Higgins Weather Guard. All right, so last night, Creighton downtown defeated DePaul. They did not cover. So for anybody that followed my advice, I hope you won a little bit of a scratch. It felt like an 8 o'clock game. Let's be honest. I don't care if the game's in Lincoln, the game's in Omaha. 8 o'clock starts are ridiculous, especially midweek.
Yeah.
So it was from watching it on the Peacock.
Yeah.
It was, and confirmed by a couple of people that were there, it was a very sleepy atmosphere. Thankfully, the blue towels from Blue Out Night for Abide covered up a lot of seats. So it made it look like it was full.
It made it look better.
It looked like there were a lot of empty seats in there last night. And, I mean, you can't knock Nebraska for, hey, there's him. Okay. Well, we all be honest here. 8 o'clock start times midweek suck. But if you're going to be on TV all the time, that's one of the trade-offs, is you're going to play at 8 o'clock. Last night was one of those games as I watched it. And Creighton has to find a way to shoot better from beyond the arc because they're going to start to face teams that they haven't played yet, and they'll pack it in on Kalkbrenner. And like DePaul did last night, it'll be hug a Kalk. I mean, they were bear hugging him every time he touched the basketball, and I'm glad that Kalkbrenner got pissed.
Okay? Oh yeah,
because he got in the midst of that 15-0 run, he got a little bit of he got chippy about it. But probably a better team, first of all, gets you more juiced up. I thought Creighton played to the level of DePaul last night, but Creighton is more skilled than DePaul, so they win a game like that. And DePaul had a couple out. I don't know. I'm going to go, hey man, Chris Holtman, way to come in here. They never received the full knockout punch.
No.
And even when they did, and the lead swelled to 20, they got it back down where they win by 10. But I think moving forward, Creighton's 3-point issues, they have to find a way because they have struggled now. It's not just 1 week, not just 2 weeks, about 2.5 weeks. They haven't shot the ball from beyond the arc, and they're going to get into a situation where people are going to go, you know what, we'll just pack it in. We're not going to let 11 touch the ball, and we'll do the Nebraska philosophy. It's a make or miss sport. You make threes, we're in trouble. You miss threes, we got a chance.
I think the dirty little secret of Creighton basketball throughout this kind of last month and a half stretch is that they really always haven't gotten like their very best performances game in and game out from Stephen Ashworth and Ryan Kalkbrenner.
Yeah.
It hasn't been consistently where it's like, man, 1 and 2. Now, don't get me wrong. They're both playing very high-level basketball, and they wouldn't be the position that they are in, without them playing, good ball together. But it hasn't really been okay, Calc is up here, and right next to him has been Ashworth. There's been, some different games where one has not shot well and the other hasn't shot well, but they still contribute. And there's been, and we talked about it yesterday with Jason Green and even Isaac Trout and Fedor Zugic, like they've been playing better recently down the stretch where you kind of miss out on that because you have some, good supporting pieces around them that, neither of these guys are playing terrible, but they're not playing their best. Yesterday was one of those games where the supporting cast could not play well, right? And Kalkbrenner did play he had 25 points and 13 rebounds yesterday, and Ashworth was right next to him and how he played, and you had that 1 and 2. And against DePaul, this is a little bit to your point, against DePaul, that works, right? Against DePaul on a Wednesday at 8, one of the worst teams.
By the way, they were missing 2 of their, I don't know what you say this about DePaul.
Sure.
2 of their players.
Yeah. Like that works.
McGuire and Rod Strickland.
Hey, they're bad.
They're bad. That works against them. That was one of those games yesterday. You go, if they're going to beat some of these teams, if they're going to beat a Gonzaga, or if they're going to beat a BYU, or if they're going to beat, Vanderbilt now could be in as a 10 after their win yesterday against Texas A&M. If they're going to beat some of these teams they're going to play in the tournament, they can't play that way. And I think especially at the end of the first half, it was clear that DePaul had some more juice than them, But then there was also the mindset of, Creighton was like, hey.
Creighton is Creighton, DePaul is DePaul.
Yeah.
We're at the end of the day. This is the old K-State line.
I don't think they ever were going to. I don't think they ever were threatened.
No, and they got the kill shot. I credit DePaul hanging around. Also credit guys were a little agitated after the game. I liked it. Yeah, I mean, especially Mac. Mac was like, late game. It's not acceptable.
Sleepy.
No, they didn't play.
It was sleepy. The crowd wasn't into it. There were a ton of empty seats last night. Again, ridiculous. They played at 8:00, but you want to be on TV, you got to play at 8. You know what? If you are on the radio, we play at 7:05. But they won a game, and it didn't seem like they were happy, which is okay. Which is fine.
I'm glad they weren't.
You win your 20th game, people celebrate. They're like, hey, slap you on the back. And then you get in front of a microphone and camera and you go, yeah, we won.
Yeah, they can play a lot better.
We're a day away from moving into March.
Finally.
So, we will, there's other things that happened yesterday in the world of basketball because, Jimmy, I think I found your next big Bill Self.
Okay.
I think I found him last night. But there is some unfortunate news today. This is one of those things when you work on our schedule and you get up in the middle of the night and you check your phone.
That's exactly how I found out.
Just 2 times going to the bathroom last night.
Not bad.
Yeah.
I did not sleep well last night.
Me either.
It was one of those nights, I think, for us where it's just like, I don't know, you're just thinking about other things, couldn't go to bed.
3 cups of coffee and a Diet Coke.
For us?
Well, he said that he didn't sleep well either.
I was awake at 2:30, and so then I saw what.
Well, I'm sorry, that was off. I
didn't know if medical girlfriend was studying.
Yeah,
no
wonder you didn't go to the game.
No,
good call.
She was there. I didn't go.
No,
good on her.
Yeah. There are other basketball games.
She's a diehard.
But one of the, like when they always tell you, I violate every rule about how to get a good night's sleep with your phone.
Right.
Like, man, I'm watching. I'm YouTube rabbit hole. I'm watching, TikTok before.
Some video games on YouTube, and then you wake up in the middle of the night and it's game 4 of the 1997 ALCS. I've had that happen before.
That was a good series.
And I just turned the phone over and laid on the bed, and every sleep expert would be like, that is the worst thing you could do.
Oh yeah.
So got up and went to the bathroom, and this is about 2:30. Yeah. Crawl back into bed, and I'm like, I don't have the only clock in my bedroom is on my phone, and I was just checking what time it was because I have this sixth sense. I don't even have to turn on the light to go to the bathroom. It's quite a walk from the bedroom
impressive.
Into the bathroom. Oh, I know where
no
the toilet
night light
is.
or anything.
Nothing. I got this on lockdown, but I checked my phone. And a lot of you will wake up this morning, and we have lost one of the leaders of the greatest coaching staff in history. Gene Hackman passed away last night. Him and his wife and his dog in their home in New Mexico passed away. Gene Hackman at the age of 95. We were just talking about him yesterday, and we were going through Denzel Washington movies about Crimson Tide. But R.I.P. to Norman Dale. I mean, one of the greatest actors of all time.
Everything he was in was a banger.
It was, and he's been out of the spotlight for a while.
Yeah,
and I just, him, his wife, and his dog at their home in New Mexico. Local authorities say no foul play was expected, but geez, what an incredible career that Gene Hackman had. And he did sports movies. I mean, he is going to be on the list of top 5 best fictional coaches.
Oh,
I mean, Norman Dale is number 1, but I mean, we're looking at Jimmy McGinney.
Yes.
He just had so many.
Winners always want the ball.
We went from Lex Luthor to, pick one of the most recent ones. I mean, incredible career, but checking your phone at night, I saw that because it was on my alerts, and I was like, damn.
He was the type of actor where I think definitely a little bit before my time in terms of the movies he was in, and there wasn't a lot of Gene Hackman movies coming out of the movie theaters like when I was growing up, but it was one of those movies where my dad loves older movies, so I would watch it with him.
Your old soul.
And it's like every time you'd see him, you're like, oh, I know that guy, and I know this is going to be a good movie because he's in it. Like, he was the definition of that type of actor. Like, if Gene Hackman was in the movie, you're like, all right, this is actually a serious flick. And I'm probably going to enjoy it. So it's almost as if every time he walked into the scene, you're like, oh, this is what, okay, cool. Here we go.
He fixed Shane Falco.
There's really not that many guys like that. Like, there's really not too many actors where, every single time, they are going to be on the screen, you're probably going to enjoy what they give to you. So, rest in peace to an incredible actor.
So it's probably the early 2000s since you really saw Gene Hackman a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So he had, I'm looking at his IMDb right
off.
now. He had 5 movies in 2001, 1 movie in 2003, 1 movie in 2004.
Yeah. So R.I.P.
I love The Firm, by the way. That's where The Firm is one of my.
You could just,
the
French Connection.
Everything you named,
you're like, everything, and we'll all
Jeez.
nod and go, yep. So sad news. Gene Hackman and his wife, plus their dog, found dead in their home.
My God,
he was 95 years old, film, TV veteran. Oscar banger after banger. So that's one of the downfalls of checking your phone at night. And suffice it to say, then for the next 15 minutes, I started clicking on everything, and everybody's got tributes and pictures of, and I remember, Lex Luthor, which is, that's late 70s?
76.
Almost
50
years. That's almost a role that was forgotten that he played, and he was great in the Superman movies. All right, 31 past the hour. There was not only ball last night downtown where Creighton gets to 20 wins. Huge game in Cincinnati coming up on Saturday for the Jays. St. John's won a share of the Big East last night. They can clinch it outright in their remaining games. Plus, there was a lot of Nebraska football stuff. Midday, late night, and Matt Rule probably made a lot of you uncomfortable. Not all of you. Matt Rule said something yesterday on a podcast that you already know, but it's reiterated. And we'll explain when we come back. It's Gary and Matt at 1620 The Zone. All right, good Thursday morning, everybody. 17 days from now is Selection Sunday. You know what is happening 3 weeks from today?
We're going to do a show, and then we're going to watch a lot of basketball.
March Madness.
Oh.
The first 2 big days, the banger of days on Thursday and Friday.
Would Wednesday be the play-in, or would
Tuesday, Wednesday, or play-ins?
Tuesday, Wednesday, and play-ins, yeah.
So 3 weeks from today is March Madness.
Fingers crossed.
4 weeks from today, Major League Baseball begins. You know what is 6 weeks from today?
The Masters.
Yes.
Georgia.
We're almost there, baby.
It's looking up.
Thank you to...
I thought he was singing Torn by Creed.
That's a good ear right there. Thank you to Matt Coatney. He reminded me that it is National Strawberry Day.
It is.
Strawberry is so much greater than grape.
God dang! Yesterday, I found out it was National Pistachio Day. Yesterday,
you're looking at the.
I go through phases on pistachios.
I'm a pistachio guy through and through. I
We're
will
good.
never
I can see it.
I will never
It says on your bio.
not be a pistachio guy.
I see you coming down the street, and I'm like, that's a pistachio
guy. You look like a walnut guy.
I do.
You know,
I
look
do.
like
and
you're
I'm
like a
not afraid
walnut.
of it. You could get me. How about almonds?
Can you imagine? Walk up to you in gate 25. Walnut, pistachio, or cashew?
And they just look at you like, what?
Like, aren't you the same guy that last week came up to me and said, push button or key in?
We should have came up with more of those. Like, what are more of like mundane,
We
weird,
still can.
niche conversation starters? Like
strawberry or grape?
Yeah,
strawberry is so much better than grape. I'm really surprised that the dominance of strawberry has not forced grape to retire.
You're saying like 4-game sweep.
See, I disagree. Like, I think if we're talking, are we talking whole food?
Strawberry treats grape like Nebraska treated Pacific back in the day.
Are we talking about whole
They don't
food,
even have a
or are we
program
talking
anymore.
about like jams or
Like
jellies?
Like, let's go. It's very popular in the NFL, and just like the NFL, there are a lot of traits in the NFL that are very similar inside of this building. We like Uncrustables.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
So
we are big Uncrustables.
But I see way too many grape Uncrustables, and I'm like, then I see who's eating them, and
it makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Have you had the raspberry
so
ones?
rude because
The
you know that
strawberry
I eat grape
Uncrustable.
Uncrustables.
I
and
can't stand grape.
That's not true. You told me
Strawberry-
you like grape.
No. I've never liked grape. Strawberry is so much better than grape.
It's not
grape,
so much
Grape
better.
actually should retire.
No.
You know
Grape-
what? We should have an executive order.
That is
with
is
the big
crazy.
pen guy.
That is crazy.
Write it in there. Grape is out.
I'll admit,
Strawberry is in.
I'll admit that strawberry for a whole food is better, like just a strawberry versus a grape. I would argue, yes, a strawberry, when you eat a strawberry, it's better than a grape. But if we're talking about jellies and jams and being complementary items on carbs, such as toast or Uncrustables or English muffins, it is grape all the way.
When they bring...
Grape is the original jelly. When you go and you say, hey, can I get some jelly? What do you get? You get grape jelly.
No, you know why? You know why grape is the original jelly? Because there's somebody had to come along, and now people go, okay, hey, can I get some jelly for my toast? So you know what? When they bring it out and they bring it in the little carton, or they bring you in the little cup, it's strawberry.
No, it's not.
It's strawberry.
When you say-
Strawberry's on
when
top.
you- no. When you
look at
say,
this.
can I get jelly? Somebody gives you grape jelly. They do not give you strawberry. That's why we have to call it strawberry jam.
No, you know why they have grape jelly? Is because people like to love the strawberry jam so much they take it home. Okay, they're like, okay, I'm just going to put a little on my toast, but I'm going to take the rest home. That's what happens. So happy Strawberry Day.
We need
to
someone
everybody
from the
that-
diners who works in a diner to call in and tell us what's more popular, strawberry jelly or grape jelly.
Strawberry is much better for relationships. When have you heard anybody go, you know what? Me and the missus are going to go grape picking. No,
Okay,
you go strawberry
that's a
picking.
whole food though. We're talking whole. I'm
talking-
surrendering whole food. I'm talking about
But not Whole
jelly and
Foods.
jam. When you say
I'm
I
the
want some jelly,
whole picture.
hey, peanut butter and jelly.
Whole
When you have a
picture.
peanut butter and jelly, is it a grape jelly or is it a strawberry jelly?
Never grape.
Is it marmalade?
No. I'm just saying
Grape
in
ruins the bread.
generalities. When you order
It's a study.
if I were to go to a
I've seen it.
diner and I go, hey, I would like a PB&J, they are going to put peanut butter with grape jelly on there. If you would want to
Ooh,
have
think-
strawberry,
You know what? It's
if you want to have
times
strawberry
are
jelly,
changing.
if you want to have strawberry jam or jelly on your PB&J, you would have to say, can I get PB&J sandwich with strawberry jelly?
I always knew it as the opposite. We need to ask Sarah this because she's the food expert. She can clear this up. Because this could get
You would think, wait, you thought that a PB&J comes on with strawberry
Always.
jelly?
Always, since I was a
Wait,
kid.
That's your default?
Yeah.
That you're wrong.
I eat them both.
wrong.
Okay. I'm a fat kid who didn't really gain that much weight, so I like them both. I'm not here to choose between them. But if you say you have to choose one, I'll take strawberry. I say strawberry wins in 6 games.
It's grape jelly is the de facto default.
Maybe 5
jelly.
games.
5?
Yeah.
No, you went from a respectable series to a gentleman's sweep.
Great,
There's a massive difference
Grape
between
drops
5 and
game
6.
4 in overtime.
What's your famous line about you always do something because that's what you've done?
It's tradition is peer pressure for dead people.
Okay. It is also National Polar Bear Day. And around here, we don't think of the ones that you would see at the Henry Doorly Zoo. We think of the former defensive lineman at Nebraska. That's, if you know ball, you think, oh, it's Nash has got his own holiday.
An HVAC sponsorship. That was awesome. That billboard, is that billboard still up there? In,
I don't know about the
in
billboard.
Lincoln? It was great. I lived near where the billboard was at. That was an awesome billboard.
1% of the polls are reporting we got strawberry in front of grape 71-20. Oh, it's now 60-40. The numbers are changing in real time.
Kornacki, let's get to like 15% of the vote in before we start going.
We got 2% now, 10 votes, but in 2 seconds.
Angry Banana says about my comment about 36th in California. It was a cool party until the dude pulled out a revolver, and I was like, I don't think he's just showing everybody his gun.
Yeah. I don't think he's playing roulette.
It was kind of like that scene from White Men Can't Jump when Marcus Johnson goes to his car. It's kind of like that.
It was kind of the scene like from.
But it wasn't like it was it was not like we're doing coke on the coffee table. It was like a good party.
It usually is.
It was a classy party, is what you're saying on 36 in California, until someone then became very unclassy with the revolver.
I don't know. I think it always revolves around women.
I
think a woman got in the way, and then. Yeah.
Is that the same? Remember we had a caller come in and say that they tried buying an apartment that someone had died in, and apparently there was revolver roulette played.
It happens.
And someone ended up.
No, I hope it does not happen.
No, that does not happen.
I've seen stuff in my life. It doesn't faze me.
It was like the scene from Reacher where he does it 5 times and it doesn't happen.
I mean, I would live there.
Don says, I have so many stories of the apartment complex on 33rd in California. Just a kid from Springfield with a ghetto pass. I saw Menace to Society level.
Hell yeah. Great movie.
Hey, Captain has a great comment. Maybe we should ask Jelly Roll what kind of jelly he is.
Ooh.
Is he a strawberry jelly or a grape jelly?
We got some heated replies on this.
I guarantee you it's grape jelly. When you say jelly,
Captain says grape jelly is for kids.
People immediately think, I don't. So what? It's for kids. I love kids. Do you know what's for kids? Grilled cheese sandwiches. Grilled cheese sandwiches are awesome. Do you know what's for kids? Cheese pizza. Cheese pizza is awesome. You know what? Do you know who's got it figured out? Kids.
You know,
kids have it figured out.
Garanimals, that's for kids.
You should have just stopped before you got to that last part.
That was like a Kurt Angle. Yeah. You're Rey Mysterio. You're a boy, and I'm a man.
So I got a thought on what Rule said. Yes, well, he said it 2 days ago, but it was released yesterday. But Andrew wants to talk about last night at the Sleepy Chai. Good morning, Andrew.
It was a Sleepy Chai because it was DePaul.
Well, it was also 8 o'clock. It was also 8 o'clock, and that should have been Matt. Matt was banging the drum. He's absolutely right. Should have been dollar beer night.
Should have been dollar beer night.
No, well, no. Matt, what the hell?
What do you mean? What the hell?
Hey, you knew it. You knew against DePaul it was going to be.
Do you
need to juice the atmosphere up.
Well, why waste it on DePaul? That is just silly talk.
Well, I would argue the other way, Andrew. Why waste it on UConn? People are going to be there anyway and excited to chirp Danny Hurley, regardless of what the beers are.
You don't need energy to beat DePaul.
Well, I mean, not that it ever really got close. I mean, it was a 4-point game at halftime.
But the goat of jelly.
Give it to me. Because I have a backup, and we might be on the same level here.
It's great.
Oh. Yes.
This brought. You know when they did Uncrustables and they brought the strawberry in? That's sacrilegious.
Yes, thank you.
Peanut butter and jelly is just grape jelly. There's no strawberry.
There's no strawberry.
There's none of that.
This is like when the Bloods and the Crips tied the bandanas.
Yeah,
together.
you and Andrew are like,
coming
yes.
together. It's grape jelly, baby. Thank you, Andrew.
Next.
Matt, you're the man.
Oh,
you're the man. You just need to like a better college basketball team.
Well, I'm not changing that for you, Andrew. Sorry.
But he goes to Creighton games. Not last night, but that's
No,
okay. Oh,
wow.
not good enough.
Is that his walk-off?
I think so.
Calling me the man? calling the guy that he spars with every week.
But then
the man.
leaving and saying you need another basketball team. We have some grape jellies in the stream, so you're not alone, man.
I'm not alone.
This has become quite the debate. Now I want an Uncrustable. I had a
Were you
raspberry
gonna say
one
peach
this morning.
jelly or peach jam was going to be your backup?
No. I don't want.
Apricot?
I want a peach as a whole. I don't want it on my. I don't want it as a spread.
Yeah, I could eat it for hours.
I like. I think plums are that way. I don't want anything like plum flavored, but I'll eat plum.
Probably not going to join you in the enjoyment of a plum.
I love a plum. You don't like plums?
No.
Are you not like? Do you just not eat fruit?
I do eat fruit, but I'm not eating a plum. I have no desire to eat a plum. Why would I eat a plum? What is a plum good for?
Because it fits in your hand. You know, it's nice. It's grabbable. You take like 4 bites of it.
Not everything that fits in your hand is good for you.
It fits in your hand. You take about 4 bites. You get to the pit, and then you put the pit in your mouth. You swirl it around a little bit. It becomes like a little bit of a everlasting gobstopper. It's tasty.
Okay. I'm going to refrain from jumping into that conversation for fear of not making it to 7.
Seems like I missed something.
But how about the Cubs? Haven't lost in spring training yet.
7-0. They went over the Giants.
Here is Sandy. Good morning, Sandy.
Good morning. I'm calling to throw a wrench in your conversation.
Yes, I would love this.
Jelly is mixed fruit.
Mixed fruit jelly.
I've mixed fruit jelly.
I've never. So what fruit is mixed into the jelly?
Well, I don't know, but you can only get it at diners.
Okay.
You can't buy it at the store.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
All right.
Okay.
And it is very good. And if I have to pick between strawberry and grape, I pick strawberry.
Bam. Love you long time, Sandy. I'm going to, next time I go to a diner, I'm going to say, can I have the mixed fruit just to try it one time?
Yeah. No, I've never heard of that, in all honesty.
Hey, Jimmy, rack Sandy.
Mems.
I haven't listened to Rome in a long time.
Yeah.
Like once in a while, I'll hop in the car and my radio is on 1180. And so Rome is on at 11.
When I've done the EAS test, that's about it.
He still rack people?
I believe so.
The only time that I'm as appointment viewing for me with Rome is the smack off. Like I will listen to the day that he does the smack off. But other than that, does he still rack people?
I don't think
Rack
he
'em.
does. I don't think he does.
Bang
anymore.
your monkey and rack him.
Have you ever heard Caliendo's Jim Rome?
Yes.
Oh my God, it's so good. Phenomenal.
Hey, so that kind of started, and kudos, like Jim Rome is one of the legends in the sports talk business, and he's lasted this long, and he's kind of adjusted recently with content on X. But, he had a shtick for the longest time, and he was mammoth. Like, the Omaha market was one of the biggest markets for Jim Rome, because it would seem like every day, because I would listen when I was living in Lincoln.
Sure.
There would be somebody from Omaha would get on the show, and the jungle in Omaha was huge.
Yeah.
But it seems like when Caliendo did the impersonation, like people are like, oh yeah, okay. And started to like second guess Rome and the whole shtick and things.
Sure.
And it almost seemed to coincide with like becoming less popular.
It kind of made him a bit of a joke a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, and I think that's why there are some people who don't like Caliendo because of that. John Madden was one of those guys who didn't like him because he thought he became a joke with Caliendo. But, I think everybody eventually got in on the joke and realized that the guy has probably made some of those dudes way more popular because of it.
Texter Rachel says mixed fruit equals DEI going down.
Wow.
Here is Don. Good morning.
Text.
Good morning, Don.
Wow.
Morning, Gary.
Don,
I'm
how
calling
you
in
doing?
To save you. I'm doing great, man. How about you?
I'm doing great,
right.
Don.
I'm here to listen.
All right. Matt, I don't know what you're going to prison for, but they're going to love you there.
What does that mean, Don?
between
What
your
does
jelly
that mean?
favorites and the fact you can swish it around in your mouth and the gobstopper thing.
That's a
I'm
plum.
calling in to save
Don,
Gary right
I'm
now.
just
So
eating
you can make
fruit.
it past 7 o'clock.
That's Don. First off, I'm a model citizen. Okay, never been arrested before. Never gotten a ticket. Okay,
He's young,
Number
though.
2, I like fruit. All right, I like my
Give
plums.
it time.
I like to eat plums. I like to put them in my mouth. I like to swashbuckle. All right. There's nothing wrong. Nothing wrong with swashbuckling some fruit.
There are so many drops coming out of this segment.
The whole
I don't even understand. By the way, we all know who Strawberry is, and if you've been to 33rd and Cali, you've met her. Easy told us this back in the day, what she's all about. And if you've never had a friend named Mookie, you haven't lived. I'm just throwing that out there.
Shout out Mookie Wilson, Mookie Blaylock, the original Pearl Jam.
Actual name isn't Mookie, but that's what he went by.
Yes, you know way too much.
Yeah, well, knowledge comes with time, Matt. You'll figure it out.
Yeah, I've been learning that on my time on this radio station.
Don, I appreciate the phone call. Thank you.
Thank you, Don.
Hell yes.
I'm here to save you, Gary. I'm here to save you.
Hey, love you long time.
I'm going to stop there.
Hey.
He's a call time.
Hey, just like Sandy, rack 'em. Give him some UNO hockey tickets. Sandy,
Done.
you know what? Hey, Sandy, call back in. If she's a hockey fan,
yeah,
let's give her 2 tickets to tomorrow night's Omaha, Arizona State game at Baxter. So Sandy,
Or email me and let's just do it that way.
Or that.
Yeah, Jimmy at 1620thezone.com.
Okay. Only
Probably
Sandy.
easier. Only Sandy.
Only
Give
Sandy.
him to Sandy.
Only Sandy. We finished the first hour on cue. Oh man, Doug. Go ahead, Doug.
Well, I just learned something that Arizona State has a hockey team.
Oh, they're one hell of a hockey team.
They're on the outside looking into the field of 16, but they're in second in the NCHC. They're good.
Okay, before I address the Jelly Jam question, Gene Hackman, what a loss.
Yep.
I liked almost every movie he was in. Actually, one of my favorites was Welcome to Mooseport when he ran for mayor against Ray Romano. That was pretty good. I mean, it wasn't his greatest one, but it's kind of underrated. So one thing this is old man tape for sure, but
Is this going to be about Connor's hat that he was wearing?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And alternate uniforms. Those ugly red things that Nebraska wears on basketball. It's just like I don't get the allure.
Okay,
but I'm
Just let me stop you there. They wear those in February. Adidas, that's what Adidas came up with for Black History Month. So they're not part of Nebraska's regular rotation.
well, even in some of those football uniforms, it's just like
Adidas hates Nebraska. That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
concentrate on your
That's why I took
play on the field or the court. Forget about the damn uniforms. Okay, so getting back to the jelly and jam thing.
Yeah. Riveting.
And when my mother would make a PBJ, it was strawberry.
No way. No
Yeah.
way.
But one of the few things I've changed on, see, old people can change, is now I prefer grape.
Now he prefers grape. He said he prefers grape. Oh yeah. I'm dancing now. Disco here, disco there. Premature celebration,
Hey,
Ocho Cinco.
Hey, wishy-washy.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely, Randy Moss mooning
Yeah.
the crowd over there.
Hey, are you running? Hey, are you running for office? You're trying to play both sides here?
No, but actually, my mother used to make, it was called elderberry jam, and elderberries used to grow on the kind of like a wild plum thicket on the side of the road. And now we farm so cleanly, all that's gone. But she used to make elderberry jam, which is closer to grape jam. It's a dark berry. So, but anyway, it's a. The other thing is they bring out when you go to I go to Hy-Vee on Saturday mornings, and they bring out, and I only use one. They bring out 2 packets, and I always wonder what they do with that other packet. Do they toss it, or do they,
It goes right back in the hopper, and the next guest gets that.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, just take them next time, Doug.
Yeah, just
hoard them.
Smuckers isn't holding you accountable.
Yeah. And lastly, I'm kind of happy that Creighton probably didn't. They didn't play well yesterday, going into Xavier. So Max got something to talk about, because it was a very poorly attended game. And here's with Peacock, what was on before the Creighton game? Again, obviously I was there, but I get it when you got the 6 and the 8 o'clock time frame. I don't like it. I hate 8 o'clock games, but I go. I can't get my two sons to go because the one's in Lincoln and he's got to drive, and then the other one's school night or whatever. But I don't get that when that was the only college basketball game on. Why do you have two Central Standard Time teams playing at 8 o'clock? Why can't you do it at 7? Even 7:30? It makes no sense to me.
Yeah. If you take the TV money, you're kind of at the mercy of the times. But I'm with you, Doug. Thanks for the phone call. One more home game for Creighton. It's going to be very awkward next year not to see 11 as a rim runner.
And there's tickets available. They kept showing it on the scores table last night.
Oh, for
Butler.
Hey, that place will be packed.
It will.
Yeah, but
5 o'clock game.
It's going to be. I mean, what they should do is when they have senior night next week, and I like how Creighton does it. They do the speeches and everything after the game.
Mm-hmm.
Now you roll the dice. If you have a hiccup, then it's kind of a weird. Like Nebraska women's basketball had senior day on Sunday, and you got Markowski as one of the best players all time in that program. By the way, her sister Ava, they just keep coming. I mean, the Markowskis just keep coming out of Pius. Wild game last night in a district game down in Lincoln at Bishop Flavin Gym, which I've called a lot of games from. They're playing Norris, so Norris and Pius are a rival. Norris hits a game-tying 3 with about 5 seconds to go. Ava comes about half court, launches it, and wins, and Pius wins at the buzzer. But so Nebraska women, they do their senior thing after they lose, and they got beat bad by Washington, who, by the way, went up to the barn and beat Minnesota last night. So Washington's, but
pretty good.
You roll the dice. So Creighton has done it after the game, and the connection between the fan base and the players is really special at Creighton, and it gets really, really emotional. And I got to imagine that next week, his wife is a former student athlete at Creighton. He is a legend. It's going to be super emotional.
Super.
It's going to be so weird next year. But you know what I would like them to do? And I know they won't because they're going to save it. What they should do next, Saturday when they play Butler. They should let Kalk do his speech. They give him the frame jersey, the flowers, whatever else they give him. And then Mac should say, and one other thing, look up there. And then they should retire his number.
And please don't let it be upside down.
I know they're going to do it.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be cool, like, you just finished at home, there's 11 in the rafters, instead of coming back on NBA All-Star Weekend to have a ceremony?
It'd be
because it's going up in the rafters.
Yeah.
They're already.
Like,
It'd be
sooner
different.
than later.
It'd be different, and I get where you're coming from. At the same time, I think talk about running a risk of having a dud and losing to Butler. Can you imagine if they lost that game and then they had that planned into
then
that?
you just keep that black drape over it and you save it for a couple years down the road.
You know what they'll say. Mac will say, "Hey, by the way, no one's ever wearing number 11 again." Done, and then they'll do it next season.
The
polls even
discussion about you know what? This is the deciding factor. The polls are now going to be closed. You're a grape guy. I'm a strawberry guy. Has there ever been a guy in Cooperstown with the last name of Grape? Thank you, Daryl Strawberry.
That wasn't a nickname. That was his last name.
Still Strawberry, right?
Oh, I'm sure I could find it.
There's only Gilbert Grape, and he didn't play baseball.
Daryl Strawberry, greater than Gilbert Grape.
That does not
Thank
end
you.
the argument.
That end of the thing. It is 1-0. Hour 2 next. All right, hour number 2. These kind of songs back in the day, you just make guttural sound. Mike. DMX.
Rest in peace, man. Knock, knock.
Man, I could use some Rough Riders right now.
Was DMX, that was the club music, right? Back in the day? I mean, that was the classic.
This was the kids' music.
DMX never dabbled in country.
No, I said club.
Well, I know. He had the club, run.
Yeah.
But he never, jumped over to country.
I never asked if he did jump over to country. That was never a contention or question or anything. I just said he got played in the club, right?
Shabuzi and DMX never crossed streams.
Well, Shabuzi isn't country. I'm sorry. He's good. Don't get me wrong. I like me some
George
Shabuzi.
Strait.
Shabuzi makes some good music, but he is pop with a slight twang, okay? He is not country. He's a slight twang.
Pop with a twang.
He's pop with a twang.
See him more on country shows, like award shows, though.
Yeah, because it's like, he defines himself as country music. And so that's just like, they're not going to tell him what to define as.
They're not going to go on stage and go, excuse me.
Actually,
you ain't Merle Haggard.
You're not country. You're pop with a twang. They're not going to do that on national television. They're just going to give him the award and they're going to be like, congrats, man. Here you go.
A little bit later, Sarah Baker Hansen will join us coming up at 8:30 to be the deciding factor in the strawberry versus grape.
Which is highly contested, our poll. Oh.
You don't mess with people's jam.
Grape now leads.
You can only vote once,
I only voted once, and I nearly voted strawberry. I was very close to the strawberry button.
Sip and Brian Edwards will join us. If you're waking up, the sad news, Gene Hackman and his wife and his dog were found dead in their home in New Mexico. Gene Hackman was 95. So, I mean, I was scrolling through movies. So I brought up Lex Luthor and Superman. And then you go, okay, there was kind of the forgotten Royal Tannenbaums, which I know did not get a lot of acclaim, but
it's a good movie.
I loved it because it was such an effed up movie. Then I'm like, okay, we haven't mentioned Behind Enemy Lines.
Yeah.
Mississippi Burning.
Wow.
But the thing, like the one of the sports world of Hoosiers is, and it resonated with, everybody, and, got attached to basketball. Hinkle,
Sure.
That's where you probably first knew of Hinkle Fieldhouse and the Hickory Huskers, by the way, the Hickory Huskers, that gym still stands called the Hoosier Gym. But when Gene Hackman has told this story, and it was shortly after Hoosiers came out and it started to get a lot of acclaim, that he thought it was going to be a disaster. Like he was very, very cautious about making it because he thought it would be one of his worst movies.
Really?
And it turned out to be one of his best.
I did not know that. That's great, like inside baseball stuff. Like, I mean, it's the classic where, he does the dimensions of Hinkle Fieldhouse and puts it down in there. I mean, Fred Hoiberg has referenced it multiple times in press conferences. It's a classic movie. And there's a lot of just, it's funny. When you think of sport movies, I think the best sport movies are typically football, but the basketball ones, when you make a great basketball movie, man, it is hard to top it, right? Coach Carter, Hoosiers, the one not on the same level, but
Teen Wolf,
the one that Ben Affleck made.
He did a good job
Recently. He recently made a basketball movie. I forgot its name, but that was really, really good as well. Like
Woody Harrelson,
semi-pro
movie.
Semi-pro.
Yes.
Semi-pro.
Yeah.
It's another great basketball. I mean, it's like when you make a good basketball themed movie, it's hard. It's hard to compete.
Man, one of the greatest actors of our time. Rest in peace to Gene Hackman. So jam-packed of a lot of things going on. There was a lot of football. There was a lot of basketball yesterday. I don't know if I've told people, you heard me. The Cubs tied yesterday, but still when they tie, they win.
Yep.
They haven't lost in the Cactus League. So, I mean, Matt Shaw might not be going to Tokyo, but, Matt Shaw will play 160 games.
Bud Selig likes ties.
Matt Rule yesterday had a couple of assistants speak to the media.
Yes.
There was good stuff there. But Matt Rule spoke on a podcast. So we have this thing in D.C. I don't know if you guys have heard about it called Doge.
Okay.
DOGE.
Yeah. Yes.
You've heard about it, right?
Is it still a coin? It's still a coin, right?
Not to be confused with Doge Balbay, the former Texas guard about 15
No, but
years ago.
those 4 letters are getting a lot of attention in D.C. Some good, some bad.
Yeah.
There are 4 letters that resonate throughout the Nebraska football office that I think should get attention. It is called DGAF.
DGAF. Oh, don't give a
flip.
There you go.
So Matt Rule, who says things out loud that you're not supposed to say because that's the truth, but then other coaches or administrators will go, yeah, he was right. Okay? You're going to have to pay $3 million for a quarterback. No, you can't say that because you're going to screw the market.
Yeah.
Yeah, God, we're paying $3 million for a quarterback. Now we've been in a week of the whole Tennessee, Nebraska stuff, and Troy Dannon went on the car wash to explain the position. Matt Rule has, who ordered the
Code Red
on this whole deal, to say we're not going to Tennessee. He, Mr. DGAF, and by the way, he has his OC is the same way. I think when you get fired from a high-profile job and you're bitter about who fired you, because you're like, I'm better at my job than you are, but you have the power, so you can fire me, but I'm going to get back at you. So I'm kind of seeing that with Rule, because he references Carolina a little bit more.
Yeah. And when the Carolina Panthers owner gets a D- on the NFLPA surveys, it kind of goes to show what multiple people think about him.
Head ball DGAF coach in Lincoln lets it rip. And so his comment that he had on the podcast with Urban Meyer, which is not new, Rule has kind of said this, but we're in a downtime.
Yeah.
And we're in kind of a heated time because the college football playoff and schedule and strength of schedule and how do you get there and all that kind of stuff. So the quote that is, Nebraska Twitter yesterday was fighting people off. Why in the world would a Big Ten team who's already playing 9 conference games, why would you ever play one of those games? Now, did you notice, I don't know if you've watched or if you just heard the audio or if you've seen the visual, like when he said that, Urban Meyer nodded. This is what Matt Rule did yesterday. And we all know this because we're not living in the 90s around here, or at least not on this show. We don't live in the 90s. Nebraska's only been to 1 bowl game since 2016.
Yeah.
The brand is strong, but the play on the field is not. And sometimes Nebraska makes more noise with their mouth than their actual play. But I think Matt Rule doing this and saying this is telling you Nebraska football, this is where we're at. Nebraska football has been to 1 bowl game since 2016. What I'm going to say is not popular, but what I'm also going to say is this is the reality. We have to do what's best for Nebraska because Nebraska hasn't been at its best. So Texas and Ohio State can say, we're going to play the best of the best. You know what? Because Nebraska's not Texas, Ohio State. Texas, Ohio State can play those games, lose a game, and they don't get dinged for it. Nebraska plays those games, and they get dinged for it. He told you the reality of Nebraska football is where it is right now. Not where we want to be. We'd like to be somewhere else, but this is who we are. So we have to do what's best for Nebraska, and we're going to schedule this way to try and get ourselves into the playoff. We're not Texas. We're not Ohio State. So when Chris Del Conte at Texas, who they need to stop saying, we want to play 9 conference games. Do it.
Yeah.
Saban wanted to. He's no longer in the league. Del Conte yesterday said, I put heat on people to play 9 games. Well, you know what? Start a friggin' fire.
Yeah.
Texas wants to play tough teams. Okay? They can do that because they're Texas. Nebraska, I'm sure, would like to play some tough teams, but Nebraska right now can't do that. And that's what one of the things I took away as Rule has been on this, these are his talking points, is this is where Nebraska is. We have to do what's best for Nebraska currently. Past Nebraska, go anywhere, play anywhere.
Sure.
Current Nebraska, we just need wins, and we need to schedule some cupcakes to get wins.
The whole the quote he says here in the in the lead up, he goes, I'm in if we're being completely honest, Coach Meyer, I'm at a point in my life in my 4th job, and after getting fired in the NFL, I kind of say what I feel nowadays. I could care less.
DGAF.
And it's that I feel like that's more of a 70-year-old college football coach statement than it is a 50-year-old college football statement. I feel like that's kind of a statement from a coach who's won multiple big bowl games or who has won national championships, who pedigree in the profession to say things like that. I don't know if Matt Rule not necessarily, I don't think Matt Rule has earned the right to really be like, oh, I don't care. I don't care at all. I can say what I want or anything like that, just in terms of his coaching pedigree, because some coaches have won. Nick Saban has every single right to, Kirby Smart has every single right to be like, I don't care. I don't care what people think of me, because you know what? I'm a winner. I've won national championships. I've won Orange Bowls, Sugar Bowls, all that. Matt Rule hasn't done that. And for me too, I read these quotes and I know what he's saying, right? And I get it, and I understand where he's coming from with the expanded conferences and the tougher schedules, and the fact that now not only do you have to consistently play Penn State and Ohio State and Michigan, but you got to play Oregon at the same time. Man, the team better be really, really good next year, because you're setting yourself up for some real big backlash. You're setting yourself up for receipts. You're setting yourself up for people looking at the program incredibly negatively, and you incredibly negatively. And whatever leeway and whatever benefit of the doubt that Matt Rule might have had from a national perspective, I feel like these statements and these quotes and being like, I don't care, lessens that a little bit. And so, hey, do what you want. Obviously proceed with caution, but caution has been thrown out the window. He just says, you know what? This is what I think. This is what I believe. Good on him, but be warned. You know, it comes with it comes with a certain territory, and that certain territory definitely is negativity if you don't win. And if we're being honest, it's like he talks very, very confidently for being 13-12 and for or being 12-13 and for having a really, really young team, and for having a team that has lost a lot of their key contributors on at least one side of the ball on defense. He talks very confidently. And for me, these last couple of weeks, you know, Nebraska did very well in the offseason. Let's objectively, with the coaches that they hired and the talent they acquired. But the last 3 weeks, they have been on the front of the headlines, whether it be Dylan Raiola or whether it be Matt Rule. And it probably isn't for the biggest reasons that you'd want your program to be in the headlines for. Now, all this goes away if you win. So you know what? We're at the point of Matt Rule era. Just win, baby. Just win. And these moves and to go with these non-con schedules clearly is a step in that direction.
He made a quote. Help me here with this. This was, he's right, and the sport is wrong. That's how I look at the last week with the whole Nebraska-Tennessee stuff.
Yeah.
But it's Nebraska's 3-6 and 3-6 in back-to-back years in the conference. You got to. Matt Rule would like to do, in my opinion, he'd like to be the voice of college football to talk to the national media. Well, he's also trying to balance being the head coach of a football program that he's been here for 2 years that has not broken through, but finally got to a bowl game. So he's balancing his thoughts on the sport because he's a fan.
Yeah,
I do. One thing I did notice yesterday, and we'll get into Phil Snow, who is a really good addition for Matt Rule. You could say, hey, he's a great addition for Phil Simpson, who I think is a young Matt Rule, but Phil Snow was hired for Matt Rule, and he's going to be looks like he knows a lot. He is the edge that Matt Rule is looking for, is the eyes and the ears and the experience of a 69-year-old guy named Phil Snow who likes ball. But they're all college football fans, which I appreciate. The football coach at Nebraska is a fan of the sport. I haven't always felt that way. Likes the sport, likes the history.
Could just talk ball for an hour and not even mention his team.
But he made a comment yesterday, in the podcast with Urban Meyer that was released. And this is the one that I don't know if he just got, because there are times where you're a son of a preacher. You get rolling. You say things and then you go back and like, what the hell was that?
I've seen it firsthand.
So he said this one, quote, "We beat Colorado. That was the same weekend, coach, that Notre Dame lost to Northern Illinois. That was a huge win for us. That was a huge loss for them. They made the playoffs. Obviously, we did not. So I don't know why. I don't know what the incentive is unless the SEC and Big Ten get together at some point and say, we're doing this, we're doing that. I don't know what he was going for there because Nebraska finished 6-6.
That makes no sense to me.
Yeah, I think that we got on a roll and we just started spouting.
Is he trying to say that they didn't have momentum, or the momentum wasn't created by Colorado, and that didn't lead?
That was the one that was a confusing. I don't know. Did he not finish the thought? It was just that was a weird place of after, because it was on the heels of him talking about got to be better offensively at the end of the year and scoring. Sure. And then he used the SMU BYU example.
I didn't understand. So I read that quote too. I didn't understand it because I'm like, are you saying that Colorado, like winning games. Like there's this idea that winning a week 2 game should lead you to win a week 6 game. And that didn't happen for you. And so it doesn't matter because we've kind of saw this at the end when we were deciding who was in and who was out. Like if Nebraska was 10-2, right, and trying to get into the college football playoff, that Colorado win, a butt whooping of Colorado would have been very nice for them. Would have been a quad 1 win, if you will. But I think at the end of the day, Matt Rule talks like Steve Sarkisian with a Luke Fickell record. That's what it is. He talks like Kirby Smart with a record that does not represent, the statements and big, bold headlines he's making. He doesn't. Those guys can make those statements because we can say confidently, without a doubt, Kirby and Sark and, now some Ryan Day, but he won a national championship and that's still what it is. We can say confidently that those guys are going to be where they're at in 5 years. Can we say confidently right now, without a doubt, that Matt Rule is going to be coaching Nebraska football for the next 5 years? No, we can't. We can't. He's got a lot to prove. And so it is what it is. Take it or leave it. Do I disagree with some of the statements that he said? No. But do I think that he should be making these bold statements all the time, always in the headlines, set himself up for failure or set himself up for negativity in the season? I don't know if the program is ready for that.
This might surprise you. Unless it's back at his alma mater, I'm going to answer your question.
Sure.
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. I would not confidently say that in the next 5 years, Matt Rule is going to be the head coach of Nebraska. I would not confidently say that. I'm not saying that it's definitely not going to happen. I'm not saying it's a bold stamp. No, I'm just saying right now, I would not confidently say without a doubt he's going to be the coach in the next 5 years. I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong. Those guys who I mentioned, Smart, Day, Sark, unless things go terribly, terribly wrong or they decide to leave for other reasons, they could confidently say they'll be head coaches for quite a while there.
There's something you said that also is part of this whole offseason, which, Nebraska's had a good offseason. They've upgraded the roster. They've upgraded their coaching staff. They have more alignment in the front office where, NFL Light that wears scarlet and cream. They've had one of the better, I know people are like, shut up. Don't hang the banner. You have to take a step back and look. Nebraska's had a good offseason.
They have.
Now, what does that mean? Does that mean less no-show games in the fall? Who knows? But compared to where they were last offseason, they're in a better spot.
Without a doubt.
But the spot they're in, I think there's only 2 ways to go. We'll get into that as we roll till 10. A little bit later, Sarah Baker Hansen, Steve Sipple, Brian Edwards as well on mornings on 1620 The Zone. Another great turnout last night for tryouts at AEF Academy. That's right, spring and summer basketball is right around the corner. The grassroots program, 2nd grade through 17 under boys and girls at AEF. One of the fastest growing youth basketball programs in the Omaha area. Attitude, effort, focus. There are 3 great core values that are instilled in every athlete to become impact players both on and off the court and in their communities. They've got competitive teams. They've got camps. They've got instruction opportunities for players at all levels. They've got a great website that gives you all the information that you need. And there is still high school tryouts around the corner coming up in March. You can go online to check them out today at afacademy.com. Or better yet, stop by their new location, 99th Portal Road in Papillion, 3 hardwood courts. Great location. A place to get your game right. Get your game right now. Find out how AEF Academy can elevate you. Go to the website, afacademy.com. AEF Academy, development driven. All right, good Thursday morning, everybody. You will be waking up to news. Gene Hackman passed away at the age of 95 yesterday. One of the greats of all time. Terry writes into the Equitable Bank inbox, I did not know this. This is incredible. According to the History Channel, Popeye's Chicken was named after Hackman's character in French Connection.
What? I thought Popeye's Chicken was after the sailor.
Google it.
Okay.
The debate about grape or strawberry. KG chimes in. What is better, grape or strawberry soda?
I haven't had enough strawberry soda to really
I don't think I've ever had strawberry soda.
I think I've had it once. It's sweet. Like it's sweet. I like grape soda. My father loves grape soda. A lot of people I know like grape soda. Grape soda is good.
Rob gives a thumbs up for Gene Hackman in The Firm.
Yes.
Which the cast of The Firm was pretty good.
It holds up too. Like it's one of those casts where it's like maybe back in 1993 when it came out, you were like, oh, it's pretty good. And then you look back at it now, you're like, holy crap, how the hell did they get all these people together to do this movie?
Jerry writes in after Sandy's phone call. Has Sandy gotten back to you, Jimmy, to win tickets to go see Omaha hockey tomorrow night?
He has not.
Oh.
No, she.
He said she has not.
She has not.
Oh, I thought you said he.
No, she has not.
She.
No,
yeah.
No, he said she.
Sandy, if you're out there, if anybody knows Sandy,
hockey.
We got two seats at Baxter tomorrow night.
Let's do that hockey.
Almost the weekend is almost sold out.
Man.
Popeye's Louisiana Kitchen was named after the fictional detective Popeye Doyle from the 1971 film The French Connection. Oh, so that was played by Gene Hackman.
Spicy
There you
chicken
go.
back in
Thank
the
you,
day.
Terry.
Oh,
Great shot, Terry. I got you, Terry.
Jerry says, Sandy got me curious. Like she said, I've only ever seen mixed fruit jelly in the small packets at restaurants, but Amazon sells it by the jar.
I have an aunt, like an aunt-in-law, who makes jelly. Jelly.
How does that work?
Or aunt-in-law, or is it just? It was my dad's sister, her husband's mother.
Is he quoting
That's
Spaceballs?
It's definitely not aunt-in-law. What is that? What is that? Grandma-in-law?
absolutely
Would that be,
nothing.
Would that be grandma-in-law? Is it a grandma-in-law thing?
I'm
because
not.
Or no, aunt-in-law, right? Great aunt. I don't know how things work, guys. I'm an idiot. Anyway, she makes a.
I usually just say my wife's
jelly
aunt,
slash
my wife's
jam.
grandma.
She makes peach, apricot, blackberry. Like we get them every couple months. They're awesome.
Grandmas were the best because Grandma Demuth would make some homemade jam and then they would can it.
Yeah,
I've canned jam before. Got I burn a little plastic on my hand when I was a young kid.
Yeah, Latin mothers or Latin grandmothers don't really make jam. You know, it's more arroz con pollo, if you will.
Oh man, you make me miss grandma.
I know.
Jerry chimes in also about the jelly jam versus preserves. Strawberry preserves beat everything. All right, I believe that's.
But preserves are different. That's a different category. No, we're playing with. That's a different category.
Let's check the poll.
Where's poll at?
The poll.
Kornacki.
Oh, it's still 54 to 46 in favor of grape.
I don't think it said, Kevin Mitchell is just like Darryl Strawberry. No, it's different.
And we're talking about the food, all right? We're not talking about outfielders for the Mets, all right?
Why not? We would be talking about somebody named Grape if they were playing like for the Braves.
We'd be talking about Billy Beane.
Would we?
Yeah, first round draft pick, 21st overall.
I'm just waiting for you to quote that movie. That's got to be Moneyball. Has to be one of your top movies of all time,
It is
right?
my favorite movie ever.
Ever? Oh wow,
ever. That and Ford versus Ferrari, pretty great. The Martian as well. Big like
Shout
Little
out
Women
Marvin.
as well.
The movie or the?
You're done?
Yeah, I'm done.
No, you got more.
Yeah.
I have all 10 memorized in my head. Empire Strikes Back's on the list. Megamind's on the list. Cars like the animated with Lightning McQueen.
Right, not the band.
Kind of running out here. That's it. Oh, In Time with Justin Timberlake. That's a great movie too. One of my faves.
I don't remember
know
that
that one.
Yeah, I'm surprised I don't.
It's like a dystopian universe where they have a clock on your arm, and the clock is like how much time you have to live, and like your currency is time. So every job you do, you get more time to live. Yeah.
Speaking of ranking movies, so this
Yeah.
is Adam with Hoosiers as one of the great all times. Again, if you can find the interview post Hoosiers release that Gene Hackman did, he admitted he thought it was going to be an absolute disaster. And of course, it was one of the best. So Adam ranks his top 5 basketball movies.
Ooh, this is good.
Hoop Dreams.
Oh my God, that's awesome. Yes,
You're from Chicago, so you're
Yes.
supposed to like that.
I grew up watching that.
Do you know who so Clifford Scales, who played at Nebraska, went to Homewood Flossmoor.
Really?
Yeah. No, he went to not Homewood Flossmoor. He went to the other school.
Brother Rice?
No,
St. Rita? St. Lawrence? St.
I know it'll come to me.
St. Tom,
the
St.
one
Francis?
that was in the movie.
St. Francis.
Yeah.
St. Francis.
So we talked like down the, after it came out, we talked to him. Love Hoop Dreams. Hoop Dreams Hoosiers. He got game. Good call.
Ray Allen should have won an Oscar for it.
Blue Chips.
Yeah.
Do you think Blue Chips in today's current college setting was ahead of its time?
Yes.
I
Remember
don't
what Nick
think-
Nolte says in the press conference? It's about GD money. Yes.
I don't think I've seen Blue Chips.
You should see it. I think you
I
would
haven't
like
watched
it.
Blue Chips.
That's not sarcasm.
And then he finishes with Air. That's a solid list.
Okay, I gotta see Air too. Everybody keeps telling me how great Air is. Hey, one that would be in my top 5, like Mike. Like Mike, great movie.
Patino's in Blue Chips.
I gotta watch Blue Chips.
Blue Chips was if you watch it today, you're like, you mean that stuff back then was illegal?
Yeah. And how do you fail TV?
That's true. All right. More on Strawberry. Here's Chris in Vegas. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, gents. There's a couple things I want to talk on that and on the. It's strawberry all the way. No, it's strawberry. It's no joke. Grape is just watered down gelatin. Okay.
Oh, come on. I mean, I get having a preference, Chris, but that's just incorrect. I mean, it's
No,
it's still
not
pretty
even
good.
close.
It's pretty good.
If I go to a restaurant, this is the rankings. It's strawberry and blackberry if they have it, or orange marmalade, or in the very rare occasion, apple butter.
Yeah, that's a solid call.
Apple Butter was great.
But in Gene Hackman and everything, he is one of my favorite actors, and I think the underrated movie is the one with him and Kevin Costner, No Way Out.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, that took a turn on you at the end.
It did. Chris, thanks for the phone call. All right, here is Random Mike.
Random Mike.
Hello, Mike.
Chariots of Fire. I love that movie.
That's awesome.
You guys, did you ever see it?
Yes.
What'd you think?
At the time, I really liked it. I got to be honest, I haven't gone back, and that's not on the rewatch list.
Yeah, you might try it because, amazing story. Okay, Matt Rule's Big Ten record after 2 years is what? I think you guys referred to it.
His overall record is 13-12. His Big Ten record.
No, I don't want to know the
His-
overall
his,
record. I want to know the Big Ten record.
3-6.
Yeah. So
Lost
6 and
twice
12.
as many games as he won. Okay. Don't talk so much when you've lost twice as many games. You know, I love the guy. We all do. Enough. Scott Shanley's last words to you that I heard on this station, you know what they were?
I remember. I'm going to Hawaii, and I'll get back with you next week, is what I heard.
They were, I hope I'm wrong. And so do I. But here's the thing. Who's the highest paid tight ends coach in the history of the world? Do we have it?
Yes, we do.
Yeah. I mean, that says a lot right there. But I think, Matt, you referred to it, I think the last time we talked. The difference now in our offensive coordinator and our special teams coach to what we've had the last few years, it's kind of enormous, isn't it?
Yeah, I still believe that, Mike. It's a pretty big gap of what we got now from what we had. But, at the same time, we got to see those two coordinators that we have now, actually get on and have a full season. But just looking at it
That's
from
exactly
an
right.
optic
And-
perspective, yeah.
Exactly right. And Tom Osborne, great coach. But how important was it to have a Milt Tenniper and a Charlie McBride, among others, there? I mean, how important was it for Bob Devaney to have a Mike Corrigan and Monty Kiffin and some of the others? I mean, it's a village there. It's not just the head guy. And there's reason for optimism now. But my goodness, you've lost twice as many games in the Big Ten, which is, guys our own size. Maybe you shouldn't talk so much.
There's some truth to that, but he likes
to talk.
He's a great guest because he's a great orator and he will go places that most coaches won't. So I don't think he's going to stop. It's just Nebraska needs to make more noise with their on-field than their mouth.
Yes. Yes.
And you know what? You can control both.
Yeah, and no, there's a lot to love. And look, I agree with you about all the new additions. Losing the two guys in the middle of the D line, it's an enormous loss. Yet they were developed here.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it can happen again. No, I'm really optimistic. Shoot, we've been optimistic before. Yeah, let's see it. And maybe a little less talk. And he's a great talker. Don't get me wrong. Love you guys. Take care.
Yeah, we're going to get to this in the next segment because, when you have Matt Rule and my Twitter is, there's a lot of mixed stuff about stuff that's being said, but they've had you cannot deny that they've had a good offseason for what Nebraska needed.
Yes.
7 new coaches, 3 new coordinators. Their roster has been upgraded. What does that mean when they kick off at Arrowhead on August 30th? We're about to find out. But I'm also going to tell you something else. That if you want to look at this upcoming year and you look at the schedule and you look how it plays out where the opener falls, where Michigan falls, where the November that has not been a month to remember for Nebraska, there is a path. There is a path to 9 in 2025.
Oh,
and if you're at 9 in the Big Ten, you know what that means. But this whole discussion this morning, I'm just going to get right to it. When we come back, there's only 2 outcomes that are going to happen with the Matt Rule era at Nebraska. We'll do that when we return. A little bit later, Sarah Baker Hansen. Steve Sipple stops by. More on the jam poll. And Brian Edwards.
Love it.
I think Brian Edwards strike you as a strawberry grape guy.
Strawberry.
Ooh, grape. Yeah. No, he's great. You know what? Brian definitely be like, you know what, guys? I've always been more of a peach dude.
He's up in the part of Florida that is like southern.
Yeah.
So that they're like great people. Yeah. You get down to where I am, man.
Strawberry.
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 Plus, we got the strawberry fields.
Forever.
You ever go to the Strawberry Festival in Plant City?
Nope. Haven't been.
You should.
I'm not really a big fruit picker. I've never been big into picking
Good
fruit.
date option.
Yeah, no thank you.
Oh, it's what she wants, Matt. It's always what she wants.
Yeah, and we're going to have to do it then.
Now you'll be picking pumpkins before long. Your little ones will be running around.
No.
It's Gary and Matt. Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
Underdog is one of the leading sports apps all around the whole world, everywhere. And you can play now in your state, which is our state, here, Nebraska. Do you want to win up to 1,000 times your money? Well, you can with Underdog. They've got all your favorite leagues, teams, and stars to choose from, and you can create entries with all basketball picks. Or you know what? You can say, I like hockey. They even have tennis. They have golf. If they had cockfighting, they would do that too. Either way, you can play with as little as $1. And if you get everything right, you can win up to 1,000 times your money. So turn $1 into $1,000 just with your hoops knowledge. This week on Underdog, I'm looking at some college basketball. Yes, I did some hockey too, but college basketball's been good this year. Matt tells me it's better than the NBA. And you know what? I think I agree with him right now. So I'm taking it. All right, download the Underdog app. Sign up now using promo code ZONE to unlock a special offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you make your first deposit. Join in on all the fun when you sign up with promo code ZONE. Claim your special offer today and get up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly upon first deposit. Must be 19 plus in Nebraska, where we live, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Void in Colorado. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org.
All right, Chris writes in from Baton Rouge. Wine versus strawberry wine. This alone makes the grape so superior that there is no more discussion. Blocked for the rest of the show.
Look, I'm just saying, like, and you've brought up like the other external strawberry arguments, and people have brought up the other external grape arguments. That has nothing. We're not talking about the versatility of two fruits.
Simply jelly.
We're on to finding more movies on the list of basketball movies.
There we are.
One-on-one?
Which you
but
mentioned.
I am winning. I am winning the grape strawberry argument right now.
Pull up date, Jimmy.
I'm winning.
Let me look here.
Because I'm a winner. That's what I do. I win.
Winners win. I've heard of that.
I think you passed it up.
Oh, I think I did pass it up. Where are we?
You're up there.
Where the hell is it?
Now go back down.
Wow. Oh, there we go. Still holding strong at 54-46.
I'm a winner.
2 hours left on the poll in favor of grape.
Strawberry?
No, it's favor of grape.
Doesn't matter.
It's
I'm gonna
pulling
claim.
away.
Got to be a second half team.
I'm going to claim victory. It's a popular thing to do.
We're looking at different counties right now to see where Gary Sharp can get some votes. And it's
Strawberry
looking-
closed at a 4.5 point favor.
I haven't voted yet.
He's got a path. But I mean, he's going to have to pick up a lot of votes from here.
Jake chimes in with more basketball movies. Sixth Man or Space Jam, not the garbage
Space Jam.
LBJ one.
Right.
Correct.
No.
Six Man was good.
I didn't even watch Space Jam 2 or whatever the heck they called it with Sierra Wright.
A vote for Air Bud.
Yeah, no.
Air Bud, there's a versatile dog.
No.
He was a receiver,
An
basketball player.
Air Bud is a football movie. I know, like, there's multiple Air Buds and what he's done, but the good Air Bud is
Air Bud was the Bo Jackson of dogs.
Yes. Well,
Justin says Coach Carter. Yes.
oh, yeah.
Good call.
Obviously.
All right.
Coach Carter's my
So
one.
the reaction to Rule's being Matt Rule with 3-6 back-to-back years in the Big Ten, 0 major conference championships, 0 major bowl victories. But Matt Rule likes to talk, and he represents college football and Nebraska, and he says things that other coaches would love to say, but Rule says it out loud. So you put yourself in the spotlight, especially when you are 3-6 in the Big Ten. So, the reaction is, amongst even the Nebraska fan base, I would say is 70-30. 70, go get him, Matt. Love you long time. 30% are like, been there, done that. So Fremont Fred, who has been pretty strong, he's waiting for Rule. Calls him got snake oil salesman.
Yeah.
There is, let me scroll down. Oh, so JD, I'll just say Iowa JD. Rule knows that if he doesn't win 9 this year, he's fired.
I don't know. I don't know about that.
Nebraska can't afford to fire Matt Rule financially and just structurally. I'm just going to leave it at that.
Yeah.
He will be paid a lot of money not to coach. That's not true. He might as well go in and all say whatever he wants. 9 is not what they have to get to. No. Now, if they're 6-6, we're going to have some speaks, and next year is going to be really, really uncomfortable around
Somebody
here.
told me that once on this station,
in
this room.
But here's where we've gone to. The head football coach currently at Nebraska and his tick-tocking, high school-loving hoops guy, his quarterback, are attached at the hip.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? They could be father and son, and Dom would be like, whoa, 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 whoa. That's the reality is the current head coach and the current quarterback are tied together. They both at times can be outspoken. Now, nobody's really ever heard Dylan speak. They really haven't.
Yeah,
he doesn't speak a lot.
Yeah,
but
it's a good point.
But he's being a 19-year-old kid who is the quarterback at the University of Nebraska and has to be better in year number 2. But they both put themselves out there. So with the good also comes the bad.
I have a terrible comparison.
So this is where we're at with Matt Rule and Dylan Raiola together. They both have a lot of power, by the way. Matt Rule's power has increased. Order Code Red, get rid of the Tennessee-Nebraska series. Troy, you come up with something, but we're not playing that game.
Yeah.
Gotcha, Matt. And Dannon and Rule, that's a good.
Oh, yeah.
Personality-wise, that's a good fit. But Matt Rule is the most powerful guy down there. And they're letting Nebraska football be Nebraska football, which structurally, later in the day, you hire a GM. Organizationally, they align That's why I keep saying they've had a good offseason. Organizationally, they align much better. They had a fleecing of the guard behind the scenes with Nebraska football in the offseason. There's some people that I thought, man, are pretty good, are no longer here. Have gone to Central Florida. They've gone to Florida State. Yeah. They've added quite a few people. But it's people like make sense. Like, I've said this in the past on the air. They made some behind-the-scenes hires that I went, with what he stands for and what he wants to do, that person is not that good. But they are better. Like Sean Padden moved over to a role that probably is in his wheelhouse more than being the quote-unquote GM or personal assistant or whatever you want to look at, whatever he did. So this is where we're at. There is no fork in the road. There are only two ways to go with the Matt Rhule era at Nebraska. When you build it like this and you talk like this, and you need to be better on the field to get more recognition than recognition for what comes out of your mouth. There is no in-between in the Matt Rhule era, in my opinion. The Matt Rhule era at Nebraska will either be 9-9-9-9, playoff, get to the playoff, have relevancy and real relevancy, or this will be a mitigated disaster, and we will get just by the rest of the world about having a football coach that couldn't do it on the field, that spoke out loud about the health of the sport. So there's no in between. There's no, that's a 6-6. No, this is either going to work, especially in the 2-year window. 2-year window of Dylan. It's either going to be at the top or it's going to be at the bottom. There is no in between. You're either going to live on the first floor or you're going to be, I'm not going to say penthouse because that's a tight group up there. I'm going to say the floor below the penthouse. That's how I look at what's coming with Nebraska football and the head coach and his quarterback.
You talk about penthouse or unmitigated disaster, but I want to add another wrinkle to that too, because Matt Rhule has done a lot of media. Matt Rhule has spoken a ton. Matt Rhule has made a lot of people, not only just in the Nebraska media and not just Nebraska fans, but he's made a lot of national media really, really like him. Anytime you hear, whether it be McAfee or Pate or Joel Klatt or really any sort of prominent college football, even Herb Street, talk about Nebraska and talk about Matt Rhule. They talk about the confidence they have in Matt Rhule. They talk about how they really believe that he's doing things the right way, that he's going to get
likable.
He's likable.
That goes a long way. That goes a long way in the perception by national people, whether they know the record in 2 years, but they like the person that is in charge of that record.
Yes.
That goes a long way. So that's why he's the best PR coach that Nebraska's ever had.
So here's the added element to this. If it's an unmitigated disaster, if they end up keep going 6-6 and 7-5, and the peak is 8-4 1 year, and then they go back to 6-6 and 7-5, if it is an unmitigated disaster, the worst part about it all is that because he has done such a good job in the PR and that he is so likable, that that the blame will not necessarily be put on Matt Rhule. It won't necessarily be, well, Matt Rhule couldn't get it done, or maybe he was what people think he is. Maybe he isn't as great of a coach we believe. It'll be, no. There are some issues that are beneath the surface of Nebraska football that no one can get over. That there will be this morale that, man, if Matt Rhule couldn't do it, then who can do it? There will be this idea.
I'm going to disagree with that.
Why would you go
because
ahead.
Nebraska football, in the past, absolutely what you're saying. But for one of the rare times of late, the guy in the power chair has allowed the guy in the golden headset to build his program the way that he wants to build it, that he's comfortable with. This is not, and it starts after you flush the past year out with bodies and mentality. This is not old Nebraska. This has become, in the offseason of 2024 into 2025, we now, and this is why I'm disagreeing with you, this is Matt Rhule's Nebraska football. This isn't the Nebraska football of Frost and Pelini and Riley. This is the Matt Rhule Nebraska football. So if there's any blame that it doesn't work, it's strictly on the guy that is in the golden headset power chair. And if there's any praise for what they've done, it goes to the guy with the golden headset in the power chair. In the past, you're absolutely right. Not anymore.
But we do have to push in advance too the fact that if this were to go on for a couple of years, there definitely could be a narrative of, well, when things started to get south, then they took away more power from him. Then they started making these decisions for him. Then they started making him make these moves, right? If they don't win the way that they can.
Why can't you just say, Nebraska hired at the end of the day a 500 football coach that could never get over the hump?
Sure. You could say that too, but I think the point is, number one, he's made himself incredibly likable. He's made the national media believe that he is doing things the right way. He's made people believe that, man, that it's on the right trajectory. And so, yeah, maybe here in Nebraska media and the fans, maybe that we've seen the story unfold completely, we could detail that. But from just a national perspective, there definitely would be those stories of, man, there's some deep-seated things in Nebraska. And another thing, too, is that Matt Rule and Carolina.
But if that's just think about that, Matt, what you just said, if that's true,
sure,
no one should ever take this job. If this job opens up
exactly,
post-rule.
and that is the word. That's exactly what I'm saying. That would be the added element to that if this does become the unmitigated disaster, because there would be that narrative that, man, Nebraska can never get it done regardless of who they hire, and there's always something going wrong there, and that once again there's some deep-seated problems which would be even worse than an unmitigated disaster. It would be like Armageddon if that were to be the idea of that were to come out. And on top of that, you have Matt Rule in Carolina, like. If you were watching that, and a lot of us, I'm a big NFL. I was watching that. That did not go well at all. Okay, that was talk about an unmitigated disaster. That was an unmitigated disaster, especially in the fact that he got fired and then the team went on a big run, right? And so that is kind of an indictment when you fire a head coach and then the interim comes in and they're able to turn it around after a terrible start. You have people like Phil Snow, who was with him there, who is standing on a podium saying, "Well, if we had another year, it really could have worked out." Right? You look at a situation that went as bad as that, and you have people who are very highly touted individuals still banging on the chair, being like, no. If Matt was given another year, he could have turned it around. He could have done good stuff, right? I mean, he has put himself from a PR perspective into a very, very positive light, and I'm a fan of that. Okay, I'm a fan. I like that my coach is being liked, but at the same time, just adding to the element of it's either going to be you're not on the top floor, but you're always in the hunt, or it's going to be an unmitigated disaster. It being an unmitigated disaster would lead to even more negative outlooks of Nebraska, which would be even worse for this program. It's the last thing it needs.
All right, Sarah Baker Hansen is going to stop by at 8:30. Word on the street is full strawberry. I mean, look at her husband. Matthew's a redhead. That's Gary and Matt on 1620 The Zone. All right, good Thursday morning, everybody. Coming up here in the next hour in our great city in Omaha and Ralston, Nebraska State Patrol Trooper Kyle McCasey, who passed away last week while he was assisting during the snowstorm on Interstate 80. His services there will be a procession throughout Omaha, from Omaha to Ralston and the Liberty First Credit Union Arena. So I'm sure there'll be a lot of people that'll be lining the streets. That is to begin at 9 a.m. This morning. So just heads up if you are from about 60th over to L on 72nd. Again, there will be a lot of people that will be lining the streets. It's a beautiful morning out here in Omaha.
Yeah, it's great.
Sarah Baker Hansen going to join us at the bottom of the hour. There was a little bit of news from the Combine yesterday, which gets underway today. Ty Robinson will work out today. We had an incident between two NFL insiders.
I heard about this when I got here.
So is this confirmed real? Like, because there were some people who were like, no way this happened. So it happened. Mm-hmm. It went down to the Starbucks.
Yeah, so this was what, over the Tom Brady County, meeting, passing. Oh, hey, Matthew Stafford, we're at the same place.
Yeah.
Think about coming to play for the Raiders. So at the Dub Hotel, which is a great hotel in Indianapolis, it's right across the street from Victory Field, where the Indianapolis Indians play. Banger of a ballpark. But it's the gigantic hotel that when the Final Four is in Indianapolis, they put the bracket up on the side of the hotel.
Oh, wow. That's
like
awesome.
when Caitlin Clark, when the Final Four was not in Indianapolis, but when the Big Ten was there, they put up a huge thing of Caitlin Clark. Sure. When Taylor Swift performed at Lucas Oil, like at the end of her Eras tour, they had a big, humongous, because it's a gigantic hotel.
Yeah.
They had a big draping of Taylor Swift. So Lucas Oil Stadium is down the street. You got to meander a little bit. But a lot of people
There's still a duck in the river?
Yes. You know what? No, I think when Oregon won the Big Ten championship, they took it with them.
That is a big hotel.
But the Dub, the Marriott there, great hotel. Across the street on the other side is the NCAA headquarters. Hello? Anybody home? But in this hotel, in the Starbucks, two NFL insiders, Ian Rappaport and Jordan Schultz, got into it with each other. Now, ironically,
not over scones.
Jordan Schultz, I believe he is the nephew of the founder of Starbucks. So ironically, in a coffee shop, this fight broke out.
Wait,
they got
Schultz. The guy who killed the Sonics.
Yes.
Yee.
So they had a heated exchange at this Starbucks that many people in the NFL world saw, and then they reported on. Now, if we are settling feuds at coffee shops and breakfast establishments,
I love it.
I could be in trouble.
Why, are you caught at too many breakfast shops and coffee establishments and you might put yourself in a bad situation?
He knows some good breakfast spots.
You know, it's always uncomfortable, like us in the media. I think people from outside, they're always fascinated about what we do or don't do.
Sure.
But like when somebody, especially on social media, goes at one another, then we all like people perk up. I think people enjoy media fights. Now, nationally, it happens more often. Around here, we haven't had really any good media fights. To be honest, the core that covers sports in Omaha and Lincoln, all great people, men and women. Like, we all get along, which is not usually the case. Now, there are media tiffs between, like, the Nebraska media core. There are certain members in the Iowa media core that do not get along.
Yeah.
And they let it be known that they don't like each other. But in terms of, like, Omaha, Lincoln, and now you're an Omaha.
Yeah. Omaha man.
You're an Omaha man.
Yeah.
We haven't had any media fights for a while where people are like, oh my God. Now we've had 16 on 1620 on 1620 crime where people are like, yeah, baby.
There was
we need more Damon and Josh on Big Red Overreaction.
There was a
DB?
tension convention between the people who left to go and make one writing establishment and then the people who basically replaced them for that same writing establishment. That was a tension convention in Lincoln media, but I don't think it ever like blew up like to the point.
So you're talking about Rivals and On3.
Yes, when the guys who were in Rivals, so when Callahan, Robin Washut, and Steve Sipple started Husker Online, and Washut and Callahan left Rivals, and then started their own, basically the same publication, but for On 3. And then there was basically they got replaced by about 3 other guys who were working for Rivals. That was a bit of a tension convention, but I don't think there was ever like a fight or anything like that. But I do know.
I don't think Parker beat up Sip when he left the Journal-Star.
I do know that there was a little like when the first game of that season happened, I was told like, yeah, it's a little awkward. Like the Rivals guys are sitting next to the On 3 guys. I do know that was a tension convention. But other than that, you're right. There hasn't really been like a tiff.
We haven't had like a major media fight since Jim Rose tried. There was like rumors that he was going to sue 1620 over the parody songs.
I heard those were bangers.
The parody songs. You guys used to do parody songs, and then
this was before us.
Okay, fair enough.
This is back in the day. I haven't. I guess as one of the older, been around a long time. I haven't had really a media fight. Like I got confronted by 3 years ago. Yeah. 3 years ago, I got confronted by a Lincoln media member in the press box. And he's not worth my time. So I wasn't going to make it into a media fight.
You took the last cookie.
He cornered me.
Yeah. It's not polite.
Like, can I talk to you? I'm like, oh, I knew what he was talking about. I was treating him like AAA.
You were just sitting there. I was there that day.
We just pluck AAA. Need to fill hole? You're our AAA franchise.
Well, actually,
were you there? Did you see this?
So you told me the story, but I do remember seeing what you described to me, and then I do remember because you and I sat next to each other. You walked by and you had mentioned something of it, and then you were talking to the other 1620 or the other people that were there. Yeah. But I didn't get the full rundown until much, much later. I actually sent multiple emails to that person to try and get a job or very early on, and I was told,
now he's here.
Oh, I wasn't even responded to. I was told that I wasn't good enough.
Oh,
yeah.
There you go, flex on him.
Yeah, so we don't really have any media fights around here.
Yeah, could happen in any instant.
That Bigelow and I.
What about? Should we get something going with 1620 in house?
I'm sick and tired of Josh Peterson. So I mean, already 3 months in, so that could be something. Could be something. I don't know. I was saying they bring me up a lot on that show. They do.
Where do you think you would confront out in the public, Josh? Because you're not happy.
No, I'm not. I'm not that. Almost every single day, I'm told by someone or another that I've been brought up on the show. That definitely does get annoying. From the person who told me, I understand what it used to be the young guy. I got you. Don't worry. I know what you're going through.
Are they wanting you to be the fourth
I don't know,
mic?
Man. I get brought up a lot on that show, but it is what it is. Hey, if we want to accentuate it, we can accentuate it. No, it's totally fine. But it's just annoying. It's just
start
annoying.
something with Grim.
Yeah.
The Rockies are going to suck this year. Yeah, that'll show them. Actually, he told me they're not going to be.
Yeah, we
good.
haven't had the level of not until. I mean, we're going back maybe 15, 16 years, like a good media fight. I was thinking that we're pretty lucky around here. We all get along. I mean, we're all like friends away from. Like, there's a lot of people that I'm friends with. Like, I was maybe friends first, before we got into the professional.
Love Happer and Josh. See him every day.
So dang it, we're not going to be able to go to Stories Coffee and punch it out with anybody from 590 because there's nobody on 590 anymore.
That would be. That's a one thing too.
You and Josh at Stories.
That's one thing. And by the way,
I like. You know what? When they were on the radio, I liked all those guys. So we couldn't have a media fight.
The funny thing is too, though, this isn't just like a Lincoln Omaha thing. This has also happened in Chicago as well. Because I would be told
like
stories.
670 and
670. They don't. I don't want to say they necessarily are best buds nowadays, but they do not have tiffs. They used to have tiffs. Yeah. They used to have major fights back in like 06, 07, 08.
Except for the NFL Insider.
I think everything is just so publicized now that like if there is a media fight, it does get out pretty quickly and pretty rapidly amongst a lot of people, and a lot of people know about it, where people just don't think it's worth to have that publication of like just personal, just differences at that point. Like that's why I think it is. Back then though, when there wasn't social media and there wasn't Twitter and everything wasn't as disseminated as it was, and it was just over the radio, heck yeah, man. That was, do you think that was more of a thing?
So, that Pete Thamel is the official insider of Nebraska football.
He even has a sound.
Pete tweet. So last night he announced that Pat Stewart is going to be the GM. A lot of NFL experience, connection to Rule. Again, Nebraska does a good job of the organizational structure is like aligned with Rule's big thing is trust. If he's worked with you in the past, he trusts you. You're in the trust tree until you fall out of the tree. But he's also very loyal to people that have helped him along the journey. That's why I keep saying, listening to Phil Simpson yesterday, who's an elite recruiter.
Yeah.
Phil Simpson is a young Matt Rule. Phil Simpson's going to have a nice career in this business. But the insider part, and maybe this is, Rule doesn't want to pick and choose like local guys he gives stuff to or says, hey, agent guy, can you hit up the On3 guys and give them the news that Pat Stewart's going to be our new GM? Hasn't Rule kind of crushed the insiders? I'm a Nebraska insider.
A little bit.
When was the last time that a local media, and we're in the entertainment business on the radio, I'm talking like newspaper, even the website guys, because like Sip and Wash and Sean and Steve and they take their job, and BC and Brunson, not really Schaefer. They take their job seriously, so they kind of look maybe more as a reporter first, entertainer second. When was the last time like a Nebraska reporter broke a major story about Nebraska football?
Well, I do know that, On3 does the Tunnel Talk, which is the very exclusive article in which if you are a subscriber to Husker Online.
Sean was the first to mention Cincinnati to Arrowhead. Yeah, okay.
So if you are a subscriber under that paywall and read that article, there is a lot of tidbits of info that do come out and come out into, become true. There is some speculation on there too that like, hey, these are the things that are going down. But I think
what we do from 6 to 10 every morning. We speculate on everything.
Wasn't the last time that something really got broken by local media was Rule getting announced as the head coach of Nebraska? Wasn't that? I'm pretty sure Greg Smith, who is now a national guy, didn't he break that? No,
ESPN
broke that.
Yeah.
But wasn't there like a Twitter rumbling? Wasn't there rumblings on Twitter that it was happening?
There could be. We do rumblings 6 to 10 every day.
Oh, okay. You're talking about, hey, this is for sure happening. This is confirmed. No, I can't really. I mean, off the top of my head, no, not really. Like,
I don't know if that if people really care, who's first with it. But it's, I think Pete Thamel is kind of become the insider for Nebraska football, and that's okay. I mean, he can announce first that Pat Stewart's the GM, and then we confirm, and then we talk about it. I think the last one, because this is and this is probably also part of this conversation, is how the newspaper industry has changed.
Yeah.
One of the because the Journal Star and the World Herald was doing it as well, but I was living in Lincoln around the program, so you had more access to the Lincoln Journal Star. Is like, and whenever they broke something, it'd be front page, it'd be above the fold. Like when SIP reported that Steve Peterson during the Kansas State game at the end for Solich was going around from luxury box to luxury box trying to soothe people over. Like that was like a big story. Mm-hmm. But I thought about that last night when I saw the Pete tweet or the Pete alert about what Nebraska football had done on a significant level, adding a full-time GM, that the days of the local Nebraska insider that breaks news has kind of disappeared. It's not like Rule has shut down leaks and stuff. They got a lot of people that like to chat in that football program.
There's a tease business. We're in the tease business. There's a lot of teasing of like, hey, this could be it, or they're interviewing this guy, or hey, maybe put your eyes to Florida for fill in this coaching position, or hey, maybe you guys should be aware of what's happening over here. There's enough of that, right, to go around. But you're right in terms of just pure breaking, hey, this happened, this is going down. It's been a while, but there's a lot of teasing. There's a lot of...
But there's a smart play by Rule here.
Which is?
And he has a really good relationship with local media, by the way. It's not like he hates all of us. He only hates a couple of people. But no, I'm just kidding.
We all do.
I'm kidding. He's got a good relationship with the local media.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
He's very wise in this. So maybe I don't want to choose, hey, today I give Sam a little nugget. Tomorrow I give Sip a little nugget. I'm just going to stick with my man Pete, because Pete's going to get more traction than a Sam McEwen or Steve Sipple tweet on a GM. Now, locally, we all eat that up, and people in Iowa City go, I could care less. Or people in Oklahoma go, we got Jim Nagy. Ours is better than yours.
Yeah.
Which was a significant hire to get Jim out of the Senior Bowl. So it's actually kind of a smart play. Like Bo didn't really have Bo had an insider, but the information highway under Bo Pelini was like the Autobahn. I mean, everybody was driving on it, and everybody had access to it, and everybody was saying stuff.
Yeah. Well, we're also talking about a coach who, the whole short bus situation and taking some people who have been on message boards and confronting them about stuff. So it wasn't even just a whole Nebraska media situation. It was a highway for almost anybody. But in that regard, I will say this. I'll tell you a story. Open practice, right? And in open practices that are available to the media, you get about 25 minutes. You're walking around, and it's a lot of window shopping, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nebraska football knows that Nebraska media is going to be there. They don't reveal a whole lot, except for the one time they didn't know they were going to be there, and they did a scrimmage, and that got a ton of traction. But regardless, for the most part, they know that they're going to be there. They don't show you a lot. And so a lot of the classic shots are, it's like, we got to find, the TV stations are like, we got to get archives for Rule. We got to get archives for Dylan Raiola. Like, it's a big B-roll day, right? Like all the things when they do features on people in the future, that's where they get the B-roll. And so there was one practice and where people were like, where the heck is Matt Rule? Where's Matt at? Like, no one could find where Coach Rule is. Typically, he's running around. He's up on the middle of the field. He's coaching. Yeah. Nobody could find him. And people are walking around, and all of a sudden, you just kind of turn your head to the left on like the indoor left sideline, and he's just kind of chilled back there talking to 3 reporters, just kind of spewing stuff, just letting them know and talking about like big picture college football stuff. And I was able to get, kind of in that circle and ear on that convo. And it's there definitely are opinions and leaks and things that come out and teases and whatnot. But in terms of like it actually being fully reported and local media confirming it, yeah, maybe not. People are on it, but he himself isn't afraid to tell people what he thinks is going on and what his opinion is on stuff and who he supports and stuff like that. So there still is a way to get info around that program, very much so, very open-ended way.
All right, Sarah Baker Hansen is going to join us before the hour is over. The aforementioned Steve Sipple.
The always impeccable.
He's probably seen some
Steve
media squabbles over the years.
What did Sipple want to report during Bo's era that he was afraid that when he got summoned to Bo's office to take a beating, he didn't want to deal with? That could be in the Bill Moose book. Sipple joins us at 9:15. Brian Edwards at 9:45 on 1620 The Zone. All right, Jimmy. Bill Self again yesterday was asked if he's going to retire.
Oh, Gary, I love the job. It pays well.
63.
That's age is just a number. Bill Snyder was 374 years old when he retired.
Underwood pulls the South, goes to Kansas. That's a joke. That's a joke.
I mean, he's best friends with the women's coach. I know that for a fact.
So here's your next, maybe your next head coach at KU.
Not Pete Bell.
Ben McCollum. But Ben McCollum needs one step, like Bill Self needed Illinois to get to KU.
Yeah.
Ben McCollum needs the step in between Drake and KU. McCollum is 43. What is Self, like 62?
Yeah. And when he was hired, he was about the same age.
But I think Ben McCollum, who Drake won the outright Missouri Valley Conference with 4 D2 guys in their lineup, they are 25-3. Sucks for Drake. They have another good year on the heels of D-Rock leaving. They have another good year
perfectly,
and they're probably going to lose their head coach again because he's going to be extremely popular. He can be a little bit choosy, but he's going to have options, and one of those will be about 2 hours away from Des Moines in Iowa City. But he's that guy that
Which is also a Big Ten school.
I think like KU is the destination, but he needs like that stop before. You can't go from Drake to KU.
No. Yeah, they won't.
But if you went like Drake, Power 5, then you're ready for KU in like 2 or 3 years.
So that was my question to you. Like, how many years in P5 would you give him in order to then make that transition? Because the
man coach. He's
Bill was at Illinois 3 years before Roy left for North Carolina, so it could work like that. Bill's already said he's going to be back next year, and he's already starting the framework of how to leave the program when he leaves, and he wants to leave it better than he found it. So he's not leaving after this year.
Yeah.
So it could time out perfectly. I smell what you're cooking.
I think Gary is smelling Ben McCollum to Iowa. Ben McCollum in Iowa for 3 years, and then Ben McCollum to Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's what you're laying out there a little bit there.
Partner. I know.
I'll buy you peanut butter and jelly sandwich with strawberry jelly if you're right.
That's all I get.
Yeah,
you'll probably get more.
It'd be such a letdown.
At least
will you throw in some goldfish on the side?
Only if you ask nicely.
Are you some fruit snacks? Goldfish guy? Or do you like?
I go through
flavors?
phases.
Yeah.
So I made the mistake. I was in a good phase where I was loving my goldfish. I went to Costco.
Okay.
You just can't buy like a bag of goldfish.
Well,
you buy a
box.
Buy it. And they have 3 giant bags inside that big box. So I've made it through this was like the middle of January. I made it through a bag and a half. So it's just sitting on my counter. So I go through phases. I go through Uncrustable phases. I'm not in an Uncrustable phase right now. I've now shifted back to the Lego My Eggo, doing those and then putting peanut butter and jelly on them after I toast them.
I like that. It's kind of weird, but I kind of are you like a?
I'm a kid.
Nothing wrong with
that. When you
like
toast your waffle, is it like a cracker almost after you toast it, or is there a little bit of flexibility?
It's got to be a little soft,
a
little hard and soft.
SAWFT soft.
Yep, little hard and soft. I think that's how I like my Lego, my Eggo. So another part here about coaching, watching some ball last night. Now there is the part of when you're at the Drake level, or I'm going to even use Omaha, your success can cost you. So this will be another year in the Summit League where, should I just vote now?
Yeah, go ahead.
My ballot showed up in my inbox this morning that the Summit League Player of the Year will not finish his career in the Summit League. So Zeke Mayo last year is at KU. Markel Sutton's going to be the Player of the Year. I think Markel, and good for him, he's played himself because he's a junior college transfer. He's got 1 extra year. He's played himself into he's going to get paid.
Yeah, that's good.
Somebody in the SEC is going to pay Markel Sutton, and good for him. I'd love to have him finish his career here, but he's got the extra year because of
the new
junior college.
Yeah,
so he's gonna move on. And probably J.J. White, who has been the glue guy, who's also right there with Markel in the success of Omaha. Then you start wondering, well, what about the head coach? This is his 3rd year. They've made huge jumps from year 1. It's like when you're at that level and you succeed, you're like, okay, we're going to have to turn around and succeed with the next group. That's just how it is at the mid-major level.
So tough.
But look at Drake. Drake's AD is pretty good. He's not just a track and field guy. They didn't hire like an AD to go, hey, just make sure the Drake relays stay above water. you might have to hire another basketball coach, and then the dominoes start, and this is where we go, okay, here we go. Eric Henderson gets mentioned from South Dakota State. Maybe he gets the gig, and then that's a good job that's open up there, and then who goes there? But I'm gonna shift on this, and let's bring Creighton into the mix.
Sure.
Before people drive off the road, you're gonna get where I'm going here. So
unless you're on Dodge, you're stuck right now. Not that Dodge, like back by me.
So Ben McCollum does what he does with Drake. Okay, they're 25-3. I think they've wrapped up an at-large. They're going to be a number 11 seed. Good for them. And they're a fun team to watch, and they're a good team. And he's a great coach. So Alan Huss, who was an assistant under Mack for the second straight year, High Point is winning their regular season in his 2 years there. Huss can recruit like none other. So I was thinking about this last night because I got OU on, watching OU Kentucky, and Porter Moser is coaching. The night before, Steve Lutz at Oklahoma State pulls off an upset against Iowa State. You got D-Rock, who's got 1 year with his son.
Yeah.
Who is a big-time college basketball player. This isn't about Mack is gone. Has Alan Huss moved into the power ratings of number 2 of potential connections to Mack that would replace him behind D-Rock, according to fans? It'll be fascinating when Mack decides, whatever he wants to do, of the politics and behind the scenes of who the next coach will be at Creighton, who gets to make the decision. But think about the Mack coaching tree that I just rattled off 4 guys who are currently coaching. 3 of the 4 are at the Power 5 level. The other one is right there. That's a hell of a coaching tree.
Hell of a coaching tree.
But I think Alan Huss is probably now number 2 on that list, probably ahead of Porter Moser.
I think that, the Creighton search, whenever Mack decides to move on, whenever he decides to do that, and he's absolutely earned the right to pick and choose that date.
No, you must stay.
He's absolutely deserved the right to pick and choose that day. It's just a testament to him, to the fact that he has built that tree to the point where it is kind of embedded in his retirement, that it's one of the people that came up under him that's going to take over the program after him, because Creighton,
you hope so.
He's built that legacy.
No guarantee. You hope so.
You hope so. But you've built that legacy. He's built that program where there are other kind of programs like Creighton where maybe you would have a bit of a worry, right? Of what are you going to do after the guy who's had so much success and has literally going to build a statue or do something, very memorial for him.
Are they going to put his autograph on the court?
I mean, maybe. I don't know. I mean,
I think when they do that, they name fields and courts off people, they need to actually have their signature.
I like that.
Sorry.
But it's just one of those things where it's leave it better than you found it, right? And Greg has put that program in such a great position where other programs who have gone from, the Missouri Valley up to the Big East, who is, had all the success, who's built up, they still might worry about their validity in hiring a next great coach. They still might worry about, hey, are we really a traditioned enough program to the point where we can go and get a top guy, right? Where with Mack, because he has done such a great job and has this elite coaching tree, that where you have, 4 guys who are coaching at a high level of basketball, they don't really have to worry about that. They can you hope that they're able to get one of those guys who's been in the program, who knows the tradition, who's kind of has some of those same values that help get Creighton to that point.
I think Alan Huss will be a name to watch in this offseason.
Well, I mean, Porter, man, that would have been a really big win for Porter Moser yesterday if they were able to upset Kentucky. It was one hell of a contest. But, overall, he's got a pretty good record at Oklahoma, but I think he's now 23-45 in conference play, including the Big 12 and the SEC. I mean, they started this year 13-0. And, I mean, we'll see what happens. That would have been a massive win for the program, though, yesterday.
Hold on here. Let's we got to get to Sarah here in just a minute. Let me sneak in Mike, who wants to chime in on this topic. Good morning, Mike.
Yeah, it's interesting to see the tree that McDermott's grown for possible coaches. And
it's blossoming. Unbelievable, Mike.
Yeah.
But speaking of blossoming, you have to go through the AD. Who's going to be the AD at that time? And are they going to be on the same page as Coach Mack?
Exactly. Who's going to that's what the fascinating thing will be, is who's making the call.
Sure. Who's in the power chair?
Yeah. Will they say, let Mack have some insight because he knows the program inside and out and he knows people that would be good for it? Or is it strictly This is my decision. This is my legacy.
Yeah, and the Creighton tree down there, everyone's going to have an opinion and want to weigh in. The donors, the Jesuits, the fans, and not saying that they're not on the same page, far from it, but that's going to be interesting when that day occurs.
Yep. Mike, thanks for the phone call. And it's a great job. It's a fantastic job. I mean, Mac isn't going anywhere. He's going to coach in Cincinnati this weekend. And then he's probably going to stay. He's probably going to stay on the East Coast and probably coach in New Jersey on Tuesday. And he'll come back to Omaha. Yes.
Do it.
But it's I'm big on right now on a train of, like, when you judge like a guy like Bielema at Illinois, and in this new age of college athletics, I think we need to look at give credence to coaches that can retain players in this day and age. Bielema's done that. Yeah. And I already think Bielema's a good coach. You also have to look at like coaching trees, and not just, okay, we've had assistants that have gone on and gotten gigs elsewhere, but have they had success? I might do this when I get some downtime. Mac's coaching tree in the current college basketball landscape, Mac's coaching tree of guys that have left that have gotten gigs and what they've done might be right near the top, because Steve Lutz went to the NCAA tournament back-to-back years at Abilene Christian, stopped off at Western Kentucky for a year, now at Oak State. You know what Porter did.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what D-Rock did.
Yeah.
And you know what now Alan Huss has done. And those are just like recent guys.
Yeah.
All right. Sarah Baker Hansen, join us next. SBH is on the way on 1620 The Zone. All right, time to talk to our favorite foodie, Sarah Baker Hansen. Joins us on this Thursday morning. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. We'd like you to settle the debate right away.
Oh, yes. This is massive.
Okay.
This is a big
ready.
deal. Strawberry or grape when it comes to jelly?
Oh, 100% strawberry. Forget about grape.
Wow.
From the food expert herself.
That was like losing a whole electoral vote.
Have
That's
a great
what
day,
that was.
buddy.
That's
You
what
lost
that felt like.
Texas.
Oh, no.
Because
Sorry to disappoint.
Oh, no.
Because it is National Strawberry Day. This is where this discussion has started from.
Got it.
I think Gary just won the electoral college, but I won the popular vote is what just happened.
Thank you. Sarah, do you have anything that needs to be pardoned, or would you like a position in the cabinet?
No, I think I'm good.
Yeah. Well, we'll have Gary write an executive order. Don't worry about it.
Okay. Sounds good.
But there is, so this is kind of, and we were just having some fun with this topic, and people are very passionate about their jam. And when it comes to breakfast spots, you know this, you've written about it. This is a great breakfast town. Like we have some places that just specialize in breakfast. You flip the menu over and it's got some lunch items, but man, you don't ever flip it over because it's a good. We open at 6:30. We close at 2. But people that like strawberry are concerned that when they ask for jam and they either come out in a little canister or in one of the packets, they always are stuck with the grape.
Hey, whoa. Nothing being stuck with the grape. All right, you don't get stuck with grape. You just happen to have grape.
Yeah, if the choice were grape or just butter or nothing, I probably would choose butter or nothing.
Wow.
I don't like grape jelly. I've never really liked it even since I was a child. Like when my mom would make me a PBJ, it was always like more of a jam situation, like a strawberry jam or something that wasn't. Even a marmalade I like better than a grape jelly. I don't like the texture of grape jelly. It's really Jello-like.
This is a great conversation.
I am speechless.
You want to come on? You want to co-host? Come on in.
You guys brought it up.
Oh, this is terrible.
All right, let's one. It would be very awkward if you saw somebody put some jelly on a steak.
Yeah.
But Steaktown USA, which is picking up, people are having quite the discussion about where you're going next and the best steakhouses in the state of Nebraska. The latest, the Committee Chop House, which I was there recently. It seems like and I was very cautious, but then I'm like, you know what? Omaha's a growing city. When you see a nice restaurant in a hotel, it's not a guarantee that it's going to be a banger. When going to the Cottonwood and thinking, you got to go to the Committee Chop House, you got to make a reservation. It delivered in a big way, and I'm glad that you stopped by, and it's part of Steaktown USA.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, you're really right about hotel restaurants, and I think, Omaha has, especially with the committee, turned a corner a little bit on having just a really top-notch steakhouse in a really great historic hotel. And one of the things that my story, the second in the year-long series, Steaktown USA, which is on flatwaterfreepress.org this morning, is that I think the committee does a really wonderful job of kind of straddling the past of steakhouses in Omaha and probably in all of Nebraska and what maintains them or what's going to make them popular in the future. And that's kind of why, the first steakhouse that I wrote about last month, Jericho, is decidedly old school, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is just an old school classic. And the Committee Chop House, they have a lot of old school classic things on their menu, but they do it in a really interesting way. And I love that about it. And when I had the conversation with two of the chefs and the general manager in the front of the house, they told me, it's the top of my story today, but they told me such a great story about when they realized, or when one of the chefs realized, that they had entered the pantheon of Nebraska steakhouses, sort of this moment where ranchers arrived unannounced in the dining room for dinner, and ranchers that produce the steak that's on the menu. And I thought that was such a glorious moment of continuity in how ranchers and in Nebraska have always been, right? Like they and I referenced a story that Matthew's late grandmother told me about how she and her husband would come up. He would to Omaha from Red Cloud, Nebraska. He would do his business at the stockyards, then the largest cattle stockyard in the world, and then they'd put on their nice clothes and go out for a steak at Johnny's. And that was in the 1950s. And to hear a chef at a thoroughly modern steakhouse tell basically the exact same story last week, there's something really special about that, I think.
Sarah, so, reading the article here, I want to read something that you wrote. You say, I highly recommend starting your evening with a cocktail in the adjacent Cottonwood Room, a space that's been carefully recreated to remind diners of those glory days of Omaha beef in the 1950s and 60s. I want to ask you, how much of an advantage is it not only just from a financial standpoint, but even just from a logistics standpoint to have a restaurant where people want to go there 45 minutes before their reservation because they want to have a couple of drinks before they get seated?
Yeah, I mean, they've created what I think is pretty fair to call like a magical. I mean, it's great to sit in there. And you're right, you want to go there before your meal because it's just that, it gives you that feel of being glamorous. And I think there's something to be said for that. And they did such a great job of making the whole hotel really, but really that bar downstairs with the golden cottonwood tree and the dining room at the committee. There's just something special about it. And they kept a lot of the original details or recreated a lot of the original details. Or if you look at the wall, there's a picture of that original Cottonwood bar, and it looks almost exactly like it. And sometimes, it's okay to keep something the way it's been for a long time, especially when it's that beautiful.
I'm a little bit biased because that's one of my favorite places to do a staycation in Omaha is to stay overnight at the Cottonwood. During the summer, they got a great pool, great hot tub. They also have a little cabana outside. But you're right. When they did that hotel, and I wasn't living in Omaha when knowing about the original. When they said they were revamping it, remodeling it, and they were bringing it back, and to stick to the old style from whether you're having a cocktail or you go downstairs into the steakhouse, I think they did a fabulous job. I think they've all aligned with what the Cottonwood is supposed to be. When I saw that you reviewed that this morning, I'm a huge fan of this place. I think this is a very underrated place that people need to go, well, I don't need to have to stay at the Cottonwood. Yeah, I can just go for a date night on my own.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you don't have to stay there. You can, and you can make a whole, wonderful evening of it. And I think a lot of people do that. You can see people doing that almost every time you're there, especially if it's on the weekend. But yeah, I think, when they were redoing the hotel has such Omaha significance too, because of course it's where the Reuben was invented. And so I think they really, like you're saying, they did the right thing in kind of capturing that history, keeping the original marble staircase, keeping the original tile and terrazzo floors throughout the committee chop house and recreating that bar. I mean, none of these things are cheap endeavors, right? It's easier to build a new building, but I think about from the general manager talking about the atmosphere of the dining room at the committee. And he says, you can't recreate what was created in 1912 in a new build. You just can't do it. And I think that really does add to just the whole experience. And I mean, on top of the beauty of the spaces, I mean, the steak is, I think, one of the best in the city. And if you took a look at that loaded baked potato, I think you're going to be hard pressed to find one that it might be better than that.
The bone-in ribeye, did you have to take some home?
Yes, I mean, we're talking a large cut here. And they have steaks on the menu that are meant to serve at least two people. And in some cases, I've seen those. Format steaks. There's a seafood tower. There's all of the things that you would think of for a really high end steakhouse experience. They have it. So yeah, the steaks are really wonderfully prepared, perfectly seasoned. You say how you want it to be cooked. That's how it's going to be cooked. I mean, there's just no question about it.
Sarah, I have to ask you. I'm going to ask you every week, and I think you know what's coming. When you go to the committee chop house, what is the Sarah Baker Hansen order? What are we getting? What are the sides? Give me the full rundown of what you're eating at committee.
It's pretty close to the Steaktown USA lineup, I'll be honest.
Okay.
I love a loaded baked potato. I don't really get baked potatoes anywhere else except for a steakhouse. And I have to take a minute just to say that the one at the committee chop house, like you think of a loaded baked potato, so you're thinking like butter, sour cream, bacon bits, green onions, and probably some shredded cheese, right? Like that's what you have in your mind. If you look at the one from the committee, they've replaced the bacon bits with big chunks of crispy pork lardon. The shredded cheese is replaced with hot cheese fondue. The sour cream is replaced with like tangy, sort of thinner consistency creme fraiche. And then it does have the kind of, curled beautifully, like presented green onions. And then the outside, the potato skin is coated in salt. And so savory on savory on savory on savory.
Yeah.
And every bite of it and every ingredient is over the top, right? Like they took the classic and they just made it so much better. So if you like a loaded baked potato, you need to try this one for sure. And, so I get that. We got creamed corn, which is not your grandma's creamed corn. And they have a lot of old school sides like that. Before I've had the cream spinach that's on the menu. They have different types of potatoes, but I always get that loaded baked potato. I order a fillet. I like a fillet and I like a bone-in ribeye. Those are the two cuts of steak I would generally order. And then usually we order the shrimp cocktail. And the shrimp cocktail that they do is really great. The cocktail sauce is particularly horseradishy, if you like that. And then you can't leave the committee chop house without ordering the baked Alaska. So we get the baked Alaska. And there's some really fantastic photos of the baked Alaska with My Story Today, shot by photographer Ryan Soderlund that I've worked with on a lot of food stories over the years. And we had a lot of fun lighting several baked Alaskas on fire and food. Just to get the perfect shot.
The review is on flatwaterfreepress.org, of course, under the Steaktown USA. That'll continue for the year. Now we go from putting on our really nice clothes, having a nice steak dinner, and everything that goes along with the committee chop house to what time of the year it is. You and Matthew love this time of the year. For some places, it's starting tomorrow. For other places, it doesn't start until next week. It's an Omaha thing. We love it. It's fish fry season.
Yep, it's almost here.
Let's go.
I was looking out the window yesterday and thinking, man, pretty soon I'm going to be at a fish fry.
Nice.
We're going to start updating our fish fry list. We did a partial update last year, but I host on my website, sarahbakerhansen.com, a definitive fish fry list. I've already been getting a lot of emails from folks who want to add their fish fry to our fish fry list. So we'll be getting that ready to go. And yeah, maybe I'll write something about fish fries in the coming weeks.
Now, are you going to stick to your policy of not ranking your favorite fish fries?
No, I feel like I would be, punished by the entire city if I ever tried to do such a thing. So I'll keep my favorites to myself.
That'd be heresy.
for the first time ever.
Maybe a first timer. Where should they go?
Yeah. Oh, I would like that. Tell me that. Where am I going first time?
Oh man, you really put me on the spot today. First the jelly, and now the fish fries. I mean, the most famous one is got to be Holy Name.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean that's the one. If you've never been to one and you really want the top to bottom full fish fry season experience in Omaha, I mean that's where you got to go.
Excited.
But there are lots of other great fish fries to be had with some really great and interesting choices beyond just fried fish. So it's a fun time to be in Omaha.
It is a great Omaha thing, and I know that you embrace it. Hey, this is I'm glad you stopped by Committee Chop House. That's a fantastic place. I'm looking for the next stop as well.
Yep. Well, I've still got to figure out what it is, so I'll be writing it in March.
Hey, awesome. Thanks, Sarah. Have a great weekend.
All right. You too. Bye.
That is Sarah Baker Hansen.
Fish fry season, man.
And There's a lot of great ones in Omaha. I like to spread it around. But you know where I'm always going to go now?
Where?
I'm going to go out to Fort Calhoun.
What's on Fort Calhoun?
Fort Calhoun has a very sneaky, really good fish fry.
Okay. All right. I know.
Yeah.
I have some Fort Calhoun connections.
There is nothing like standing next to your kid's locker in the hallway while you're standing in line with a pitcher of beer. It is so Omaha.
That's funny. That's awesome.
All right, Sarah Baker Hansen again. You can see her fine work, especially in the Steaktown USA at flatwaterfreepress.org. I mentioned Steve Lutz, Texas A&M Corpus Christi. I think I said Abilene Christian.
Go Islanders.
Hey, that was I liked Corpus Christi. We were there last year.
It's not bad.
Oh, great place!
It's a nice
like just as
ballpark.
a place, yeah.
It's Whataburger Stadium
And the double-decker
that's
Whataburger.
awesome.
Yeah, but they don't play on campus. They have a beautiful campus. They're actually out on an island.
Oh wow!
But they play downtown, like in a like Baxter Arena type place.
Oh, okay.
If they had football, I'd ask, do they need a play-by-play guy?
No.
They don't.
Last hour upcoming. Stephen M. Sipple is going to stop by.
Always the best.
Brian Edwards as well in 1620 The Zone. So last night in Creighton's win over DePaul to get to 20 wins again, there was a brief moment on the floor where they had a pause because someone had thrown a lemon on the floor.
Why a lemon?
Well,
was my first.
People like lemonade.
I think we need to find out where the lemon came from, because what is more odd at a Creighton DePaul basketball game on a Wednesday night at the end of February that
Peacock.
there is a lemon that ends up on the floor, or a mustard bottle at the Tennessee Ole Miss game during COVID.
Well,
You've been at a game where they throw oranges on the field.
You can go as far back as literally a couple hours before that, a plastic rat at the Maryland-Michigan State game, which actually kind of affected the flow of the game because Michigan State, one of their big men, was taking a free throw, and he was going, and then the rat, and they blew the whistle.
Maybe
and they
the
stopped
person
him.
got lost. They were supposed to be at a Florida Panther game.
Yeah.
Instead, they ended up at sitting next to Scott Van Pelt.
They still do the octopus over at
Detroit.
Yeah,
No.
sometimes
They,
right.
they throw the fish on the ice at Baxter.
Oh, yes.
Which we have 2 tickets in the next hour to give away to Friday night's game because Sandy hasn't called back. Sandy. But I don't. The closest I ever came to throwing something on the field was at Memorial Stadium with an orange.
Were you working on the sidelines yet?
No.
Okay, just checking.
No. But, you know, I mean, there were back then like frozen oranges. Like somebody chucked one out of at Memorial Stadium and clocked a referee.
That's like a weapon.
Yeah. I mean, you know, that's the one thing about being in the Big 8 compared to the Big 10.
good
You know,
source
you
vitamin
couldn't have
C.
a rose if you're going to the Rose Bowl and throw it from the 30th row. Here's a rose. You know, you chucked oranges onto the field. But I think of now I have been around or in a section where somebody has, you know, chucked a plastic bottle towards the field. I don't know, like, what goes through your mind that you're that enraged or inebriated that you're like, you know what? I'm going to throw this on the field or on the court.
triple coverage.
We need to go and get some Texas Longhorn fans to call in and tell us about that because you know what?
I think that was peer pressure. Like one idiot in the student section throws something, so the next idiot's like,
disagree.
"Hey, this is cool."
No,
and you just
no.
start chucking stuff, and you're like, "Hey, I wasn't watching the game, so I have no idea what the call was. That people are outraged. I'm just going to throw all kinds of garbage."
No, I don't think it was peer pressure because if it was
what I
peer
said.
pressure, it would be like an Aquafina bottle or like, you know, a Pepsi bottle or something like that. That guy brought a lemon into the chai, okay?
Oh, at Texas though, they brought the plastic bottles.
Yeah.
At the chai, I have no idea that.
Oh,
I don't know that was
you're
peer
talking about
pressure.
Texas. Oh,
Yeah.
Oh,
Mecca might sell
did
lemons.
someone, you know, like reach behind the counter while they were in the bar at halftime and grab a lemon?
No, I think it was premeditated. Like, hey, I'm bringing a lemon, and
You-
I'm going
you
to
show
throw
'em.
this lemon, and I'm going to get this lemon onto the court, and it's going to be a weird, and so much to the point where people are going to be talking about it, like we're talking about it on Omaha radio right now, and that person might be listening, and he's like, yeah, man, they're talking about me throwing the lemon.
We need to go through Snapchats and Instagrams, because if you bring a lemon to a game and you're like, this is going to be my legacy, my next to last game,
my shining moment
as a student at Creighton, I'm going to be the guy that holds up the game so that we see pictures of Stephen Ashworth walking around with a lemon in his hand. That's going to be me. So you can't do that and then not brag about it. So if that's the case, I think we could find this person. But then I would like to know, like, of all things that you would bring to a game, a lemon? Like, how accessible was the lemon for you to get to bring to the game? And then also, I mean, you know, and also, I mean, you could probably get a lemon past security, because when they're wanding you down,
So that's
what are they going to say?
Can't bring a lemon?
They're going to say, what's the bulge in your pants? They can't say that. You're not allowed to.
I mean, what would they do
It
if they
was
found a
warm
lemon
yesterday.
in security? Is my question.
See, I think here Andrew's onto something, because they do sell the fresh lemonade. Somebody reached over and grabbed a
Yeah.
full lemon.
Charles goes, I'm surprised it wasn't an empty wine bottle or a sweater vest.
At least the wine bottle was empty.
Yeah, Bernie is with me here. He goes, I'm assuming someone was hammered and stole the lemon from the bar.
Maybe, I don't know. I like to think
That
in my
person's gotta
head
be
that
out
it
there.
was a 19-year-old student. He was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take a lemon into the stadium, and I'm just going to chuck it out on the floor. Chuck it out in the chai. That's
All
what I
his
think.
friends.
Jimmy, if you're going to throw some on, you're at Allen Fieldhouse and you throw some on the floor, what would you throw?
Not a lemon. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe let's see. You've been there. What could I throw there? I could probably throw
money
a funnel
to cover
cake.
the money to cover the AJ Store bill. Probably is. What
No, they
they'd
have
like
plenty.
to throw.
They have plenty of people to cover that. I would be paying for football players and my own urinal in the new stadium.
You know, another thing is, remember when they used to, because they don't do it as much, but let's say you bought a plastic bottle of Aquafina or a Diet Coke, and they would take the cap.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I hate
So
that.
because they didn't want you
Goes
to
flat.
throw, because they're like, you're going to throw that on the field or on the court. But you know what? What happens if I spill? So they would right in front of you, they'd unscrew the cap. Now, some concession stands actually will unscrew the cap, but they leave the cap on.
Right.
I don't know how many are left.
Bring your own
that
cap.
where they take the cap off and they just hand you then the plastic bottle of like Diet Coke that doesn't have a cap on it. Like, what am I supposed to do? It's going to go flat.
Yeah.
That's got the same vibe as like grocery stores not selling eggs to younger individuals because they're afraid they'll go and throw them at houses. You know,
Who
Like,
would
I-
do such a
like
thing?
I would feel bad for a 15-year-old who was tasked to go and get eggs for the family. Like, oh, you're riding your bike, go ahead and go and pick up a carton, you know, and then they can't pick it up. It's kind of same vibe, same corporation, different division there. With
We just
people
told them we
worried
were
about
holding-
things that may or may not happen.
We just told them we were holding a community breakfast, and they're like, "Oh, bless your heart."
You ever
boys
egg
are
a
so
house,
sweet."
Jimmy?
I'm not saying I've done anything. I'm just saying I've been around.
Oh, the statute of limitations have been lifted. You can admit to me right now if you've egged a house. I
Oh.
can't. The statute of limitations may or may not be.
We ran the option. We didn't throw anything. Always a pitch.
Mr. Wonderland's house, we egged a lot, especially after he killed my cat.
What?
I would have egged.
He
his
killed my
house, too.
cat. He killed Herschel.
He ran over after Herschel Walker.
No, former governor of Iowa. My
Okay.
mom named him. Loved the cat.
He
that
ran-
cat was great.
How did he kill him? He
so
ran him over.
the guy, you knew. I've explained this on the air.
Oh, so I'm sorry.
Old neighbor, a couple of houses down. There was a story. Might have been made up, but you know what? At the time, we're all like 8 to 12 years old. And
Sure.
We're like, we'll believe anything. That he put cats in the microwave because he hated cats because they came in his yard and he had this manicured yard. So he kicked my cat in the head. And then, unfortunately,
Iowans and punters.
Then my dad ran over Herschel.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Herschel died in the protocol.
It was very sad.
Yeah.
It brings back.
We need to get. Yeah, we need to get a station.
I don't
cat.
get emotional about a lot of things, but my cat when I was like 8, Herschel.
No, I mean,
Matt, you should get a cat. For
I
us,
can't.
for the show.
I cannot get a cat. I have too many people in my life who are deathly allergic to cats.
No. It's
Yeah.
for here.
So after, like we had some enforcers in the neighborhood because they were the guys that had the nicer bikes. They were like, we're egging his house. So
Yeah.
one night,
Hell yes.
once he shut off his light, because he was a mean friggin' dude.
It's like Mr. Strickland.
We unloaded with egging his house. Now, like he had to be smart enough to know that the kids in the street that are always playing sports in the street hated him. So it was us. I mean, and he probably like had pictures of us in his house, like we're going to get killed, but he never killed us.
Mhm.
But I still to this day, like once in a while, when I go back to Urbandale, I'll drive by my old house.
Yeah.
And I'll drive by Mr. Wonderland's house. And I wonder, you know what? Part of the deal when he sold his house and he died, that he had to be buried in his house. I bet that's true.
Oh my God!
I bet it's true.
I
bet
wouldn't
it's
buy
true.
the house then. I don't want a dead
Reminds me
guy.
of
I bet
the
it's
in
true.
my house.
Or
Absolutely not.
he gave it to his son, who maybe his angst was we didn't let his son hang out with us because his son was really, really weird. Like
Well,
his
that
son
might be a part of the factor.
Yeah, well, I mean, his son like hung an animal from a tree.
Well,
So he
nice.
wasn't-
That's very Dahmer of him.
So he's not hanging out with us when we're playing, touch football in the street.
Matt goes, Matt, it's called medicine. Or Jimmy goes, Matt, it's called medicine. This is a great discussion about the cat
Oh,
and the
morning,
allergy
Jimmy.
thing. I'm not going to be a nuisance to people where I'm now going to start making others have to take cat allergy medicine. Like I would have to make 7 people get subscribed to cat allergy medicine. So I could bring my little
it's just for
cat,
the zone. You don't have to
Marvin.
worry about all.
I would name my cat Marvin.
Yeah.
After
I like that name.
Yeah, Marvelous Marvin Hagler.
Nice.
Terry writes in, have to admit I threw an orange onto the field at Memorial Stadium during a spring game.
Yeah.
Really? I like that.
Come on. I made sure to throw it in the area devoid of people so I would not hit anyone if I short-armed it. At a spring game, Terry, step up your game.
Yeah.
You know what? You do that at an Oklahoma game at the end of the year. You don't use it as a spring game. I mean, that's red versus white. We don't even have spring games anymore. We have spring practices. It would have made more sense to throw it at the Oklahoma game. But there was a Oklahoma game that it was frigidly cold. This might have been
91?
early, 91, I
Remember
believe.
watching it.
Was that Mike Gaddis at running back?
Yes. I remember this because this was when I was getting to that age where I was really getting into college football.
Is that Mike Gaddis and Cale Gundy?
Cale Gundy,
Yeah.
yes. Gary Gibbs was a coach.
Yeah, there was
cratering their program.
A ref got clocked by a frozen orange at Memorial Stadium.
That's got to
I'm pretty sure that was that game.
See, I've seen fireball shooters, like empty fireball shooters, make it dangerously close to the field from the student section.
But 2 years ago in Boulder, all of the stuff that was thrown like by their Nebraska sideline that they would pick up and throw, up against the wall, like pictures after the game. You're like, man, that person, I wonder what their blood alcohol level is.
Oh, I'm sure.
Matt writes in about the capless bottles. I never understood taking the cap off to prevent throwing the bottle with the centrifugal force. It wouldn't matter.
Centripetal force. We're getting technical here on the radio?
You're the math guy, so you might know the word. I don't.
I mean, we went through a phase. That was a good 2-year phase of major arenas were taking the cap off your plastic bottle. So you would, first of all, might go flat. But the other big thing is, what if you spill?
See, that's my thing. I'm not a big fan of taking the cap. And do you know how good you have to be in order to flick a bottle cap all the way from where you might be sitting onto the court? Like, you would have to be in one of the most talented and strongest wrist strength person ever to if you were in
Henry Rowengarten,
116 to flick a bottle cap that far where it might impede play. No. PWP fan goes, you should just get those people out of your life, Matt. Cats are better. I like my mother and father and my brother and his wife and my uncle and my roommate a little bit more than I would like Marvin the cat.
Steve Sipple, not a cat guy, but he's a chicken guy.
And he's a Bob Seger guy.
He is. Man, I told you, I'd love to have Bob Seger 1976 hair.
I would just love
just
to have
for a day.
I would just love to have a Bob Seger night. It's a whole night where we just listen to Bob Seger and drink beers.
Jimmy P says, has anyone died from cat allergies?
Nah.
I don't know,
It
but
builds character.
I was told, hey, especially with my brother's now wife, no go on the cat. It would be really, really bad.
All right. Steve Sipple is in to talk about the 3 S's that spoke yesterday in Lincoln on 1620 The Zone. We welcome in the man, the myth, the legend, the mayor of the fish fry, the mayor of Crimetown, from On3.com, Husker Online, 93.7 The Ticket. It is Stephen M. Sipple. Good morning.
Sip.
How are you guys? Why are you calling it Crime Town? Let's not do that. Okay?
We're Swim Town. You're Crime Town.
No, you're Slim Town and Crime Town.
Whoa, that's fighting words. I'm on,
Scrolling through KTV.com. I think you guys are up 2-0 after yesterday. Sorry. Hey, what's your favorite memory of the Billy Devaney era in the world of back in the day where Nebraska tried a GM setup? They just weren't aligned like Nebraska is now. Isn't it interesting, Sip? Because we looked at that, and it was Sean Eichhorst bringing in Billy Devaney, who had been in the NFL with the Rams, and we were like, how is this going to work? A couple years later, Herm Edwards goes to Tempe, and they do it, and now everybody across, not everybody, but it's gaining steam across college football, is you have an NFL front office setup. Yesterday, Nebraska made a very intriguing hire in Pat Stewart. Isn't it interesting how that position has evolved to where we are now with Nebraska football?
Oh, it really is. I don't know that they don't. It doesn't totally correlate like the Devaney hire to this new GM hire, because there wasn't NIL transfer portal. There wasn't the NIL transfer portal pieces back then during the Devaney. When Riley hired Devaney, it was more curious to me. It was strange. Like I didn't understand it. I do now. It's funny that you opened with that question, because I was literally talking to Sean Callahan about it. Like I was on the phone with him when you guys came on here, and we're trying to kind of put it all together. And why is it happening? What is the GM role in college? I mean, I think there's a lot of your listeners right now that are like, what? Like what? You guys now they're hiring GMs. It's happening. It's in the very early stages of this, but Nebraska's on board, and a lot of it is just because there are paid players now. I mean, you're negotiating. There's a negotiation component now that there didn't really used to be, at least not officially. Now it's official. So I'll tell you what, the other part of the conversation is Matt Rule is just shaking things up so much. I mean, there's this. I hope people understand. This is probably a $800,000 position. Is what we're talking about.
Yep.
Which probably means not everybody up there is going to serve. There's going to be some changes. There's going to be probably some people that don't have the jobs that they're in right now. Which I only say that to illustrate that the shakeup is real. Like what Matt Rule has done this off season is really profound in terms of 7 new assistants, 3 new coordinators, including 3 new coordinators, big front office moves. It's something I definitely need to address as a columnist, but I got to kind of put it all together in my mind first.
Do you think this takes a bit of a weight off Matt Rule's shoulders, considering the fact that he doesn't, have to negotiate as much, or there, is more money dealing that he doesn't have to deal with anymore?
Yeah, I don't want to make it sound like his job's getting easier.
Sure.
I don't. Yeah, I guess maybe. I don't know. It's hard to know because we don't know maybe you guys do. I don't. I don't know I can't tell you exactly what a GM's role is. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it, except that he has to be actively involved in the negotiation of these players that are coming in your program, be it a true freshman, or guys out of the portal. That's a lot. That's going to be a lot of it. But yeah, I guess that's part of it, taking some of that off of Matt's plate. But I don't know. I mean, I'm looking forward to the next interview with Matt Rule, where he can literally lay out in clear terms what a GM's job is.
Yeah, and you make that addition. I'm in lockstep with you. He has shaken up the roster, and he's shaken up the front office, and he's shaken up the people that are working with him on the field.
Right.
Yesterday, we met a couple of them. I'm really impressed by Phil Snow. Phil Snow knows ball. He trusts Rule. Rule definitely trusts him. But as I listened to Phil Snow, and I told Matt this, Sip, I think Phil Simpson is a young Matt Rule. I think Phil Simpson's going to be a star in this business. He's an elite recruiter. I think Phil Snow will benefit him greatly in knowledge gained and what he's going to be asked to do with his outside linebackers. And then you got a young wide receiver coach who also has the makings of being a star. So you have a lot of talent. You have different backgrounds. But now we have new faces, 3 coordinators, as you alluded to, seven new coaches. How do all of the cooks get together? Because there's some egos that are involved here.
Sure.
How do you get everybody under the same roof moving in the same direction?
Okay. One of the most interesting parts of that press conference yesterday was when Phil Snow said, well, I asked him that question. I mean, I asked Phil Snow the importance basically of Matt. You have all these new faces. How do you go about getting, is it important to get everybody on the same page? Kind of a no-brainer question. He goes, well, yesterday we had a meeting that went 7 straight hours of Matt Rule laying out everything. God, it was that one answer was very provocative. My mind just goes a million places. Oh, it's critical that Matt gets all these guys on the same page. You can't just, they're fine. They're a bunch of veteran guys. Not all of them are, by the way, but most of them are veteran guys. They'll know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
No, it doesn't work that way. I mean, it might work that way. You might be able to beat Maryland and you can beat a couple teams. Maybe get by Minnesota. You ain't come on. Your operation has to be hitting at a super high level to take down, to go to Penn State on November 22nd and win, to beat Oregon, to beat the Ohio States of the world. No, this is a major job for Matt right now. That's why when they hired a general manager, that takes some stuff off the plate of Matt Rule. I guess, but his job is so enormous that I don't look at it like that. His plate is ungodly full every day. I can't even imagine what he has on his mind. I can't imagine what Matt Rule must have on his mind every single day of the year, because you got a whole new staff. College football is evolving by the day. And by the way, you have 126 players who have needs. I mean, and some of them very serious needs.
Yeah.
It's so easy to forget when we have these conversations. Matt Rule is a father figure to a lot of these guys. By the way, he's also a father figure. That's an by the way. Yeah. I can't imagine what he has to deal with every day.
It's great you bring up that answer, Sip, because there weren't there a couple like gasps and chuckles when Snow said they met for 7 straight hours. Like it was a pretty profound and statement that he made. And I want to kind of get a dig in here, and you can agree with me or disagree with me, or maybe you kind of saw the same thing. But Phil Snow at the very end of the presser was talking about how there is really no system, right? The system is, you do what's best for the players that are on your defense. And he said at the very end, it was the very last thing he said, John Butler will do that. Now, he's made it very clear that he is, John's the defensive coordinator and they're all working for Coach Butler and that he's calling the plays and he's the DC. But when Phil Snow says, not that's something that John will do, Coach Butler will do, that's, we're hoping he'll do that. No, when he says that's something Coach Butler will do, doesn't it kind of bring across that, he's almost as if like a guide, like he's a co-defensive coordinator, essentially, that's not calling plays with Coach Butler? That's the vibe I got. Am I on the right path there, or did you pick up something different?
That's why I asked about I asked Bill in that setting. I said, "Are you going to be involved in the game plan?"
Yeah, that was a great question.
And then what are you doing on game day? if it was real talk, like if I was just sitting at Village Inn right now with Phil Snow, real
would make
talk
sense.
would just be real talk would just be, hey, are you like the co-coordinator? Is that what we're talking about here?
Yeah.
And my guess is he would say no, I'm not. No, John Butler's the coordinator. I'm not the co-coordinator. But you wonder about that because Phil Snow's been a defensive coordinator at several major college stops. So is that what we're talking about? No, it's not. It's not really what we're talking about. But I'm glad you asked because it winds back to that the idea of that 7-hour meeting.
Yeah.
And the idea that Matt Rule has to get these roles defined and get these guys working on the same page. Because what you're sort of getting at, John Butler feels sort of threatened by Phil Snow. Like if maybe, some guys are like that. They want it to be some guys want it to be their defense. Well, I mean, I don't know if Butler's like that, but you could see how that could cause some sort of issues. These are the things that the head coach has to handle. That's what he has to handle. Yeah. And it's not just Matt Rule, it's everywhere. There's egos, there's things that Tom Osborne had to smooth out. I don't mind bringing up. I mean, Charlie McBride, George Darlington, Gary knows this. They weren't always on the same page. In fact, they were seldom on the same page.
Yeah.
But they had a very strong leader at the head of the program, and that he could smooth out stuff every day. And that's what Rule's got to do. But man, it is really a pronounced job right now because of all of the new faces in that building.
Sure.
Yeah. College football is pro football. Steve Sipple joining us. There's a young wide receiver coach gets up, and you can see why. You can see a little Holgorsen in him, the way he talks ball and how he's organized and how he thinks about things and how much Cale Shorts holds Dana Holgorsen in reverence. I mean, helped him get into the business. He's helped him get this job, and he's going places. What was your reaction? Because he slipped this in because people want to learn more about Holgorsen because we think we know a lot about Dana Sip, but we really don't.
Yeah.
But he said, quote, he's a hard coach to play for. What was your reaction when he said that? When there's some guys on that offensive side that want to be coached hard but haven't been coached hard, but then you got the wide receiver coach who just got here who's got more of a connection and familiarity with Holgorsen than anybody else, says he's a hard coach to play for.
Well, go back to last year when Dana first got here. Just think about the comments that he made out of the gate, or that we heard people say about Holgorsen right out of the gate. It became immediately clear. I didn't even really know this about Holgorsen. I mean, Holgorsen's been on like Gary, we've been around for a long time. We've known about Holgorsen for years and years. And I had a sense of what he was like, but I didn't know exactly how bottom line blunt he was. But you got an immediate sense of it last season when he came in. Remember what he said about blocking?
Yeah.
Like, we're terrible. We don't block here. I told the guys, like, look at you. With that frame, how could you not block? Like, he just was saying things that you were like, wow. But I think that's just the way he's very, very direct. He's blunt. He's very particular about the way he wants to do things. And that's what Jamar Mosey at Sean Callahan has this Husker night at St. Michael's where he brings guys in, and he had John Butler and he had Jamar Mosey there. They spoke to the people, 500 people there. And Mosey talked about Holgorsen. And that's what he said. He's very particular. He's very demanding. And so, like nothing Short said surprised me about him. And I love that about Holgorsen. He brings that sort of bottom line mentality that I think any organization can benefit from. And particularly if you think about Satterfield's offense, I don't want to make this an anti-Satterfield dialogue, but it was an offense where you guys watched it and I bet you came away often going, I don't even know what they're trying to do here.
Yeah,
exactly. Now, I don't think we're going to have that problem anymore.
Steve, you were front row for it, and by the way, it was great seeing you yesterday. It's been a minute. It was nice to say hi to you at the presser. Phil Simpson, went up and talked, and he had a little bit, I think, at first, a little bit of a Donovan Raiola vibe, where he seemed a little bit more even keel, wasn't giving you a lot. But there were kind of moments, and you saw it, where he was smiling and he was laughing, and there were a couple questions that he enjoyed and was excited to talk about. For me, and I want to know if you're kind of on the same wavelength, would you say it's kind of easy to see why he's a good recruiter?
Okay, now I got to be full disclosure. I peeled out and wrote about Snow right after Snow. And I didn't watch the YouTube of Simpson yet.
Sure.
Those interviews are on YouTube. I watched shorts. I didn't watch Simpson. So I didn't see Simpson. I did see him after the bull practice at Fordham.
Okay.
So he spoke to the media after the bull practice at Fordham University. Yeah, I definitely see that. I don't know a lot about him. That's just we're all getting sort of acquainted with these new guys. I don't know a ton about Shorts, just the very surface level stuff and what we've seen from him. I wouldn't expect everybody to know these guys back and forth right now. It's all very new. They're in the very beginning stages of this. But yeah, I can definitely see why. Okay, I mean, if you're just talking about Simpson, a big reason, or maybe I should phrase it differently, a benefit from him being here is these Florida kids who are very close to him. These Florida kids in the program that are critical to the program. Shavers, McGahee, Sanders, Ja'Cory Barney. Think about the guys I just talked about.
Yeah.
How critical those guys are. How far away they are from home. Well, Simpson can help them every day, and if they need it. And I'm sure they're kids. They probably do need it at times. Simpson's role just in that regard is important, let alone his duties as the outside linebackers coach. But yeah, I think his aura speaks to his ability as a recruiter.
We'll get you out on this sip, strawberry or grape jelly.
Yeah, big.
Oh God, that's a damn near a toss up, and it probably just depends on like my mood and.
You should see our poll right now.
So
either way, is fine with me.
All right, hold on. So you and Phil Snow are at Village Inn.
Yes.
So there's a lot of other Silver Sluggers that are sitting there, and they're like, I recognize Sip. I wonder is that his brother or is that his uncle from the East Coast? Who is that guy? So they're like watching you guys eat, and you order the pancakes at Village Inn. You got coffee. You're chatting there. If they bring out grape jelly, you're saying, hey, can I get some strawberry as well? Or are you going with the grape?
I'd be okay with the grape.
Okay.
It's a big one.
Yeah, I like grape, and I would drink it. I would, if someone was there, they would notice that I drink an inordinate amount of coffee.
Yeah. We all do.
Shout out coffee.
Probably, but yeah, I'd love to sit. I'd love to sit with Phil Snow at Village Inn.
How about we go to Village Inn together? Sip, is that a big downgrade if you and I?
The Grape Jelly Boys.
No, we should go to Village Inn and listen to Bob Seger together and drink 4 cups of coffee with Grape Jelly.
That would be. I don't know exactly how we would rig it to listen to Bob Seger, but yeah,
there's a jukebox. We can bring a jukebox. You got touch tunes. We can figure it out. We can bring in a speaker.
Yeah, you don't want to disrupt the other patrons.
Oh,
yeah. Well, they'll just look at you and go, as a stranger in town.
Ah, wow.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Brilliant right there. That was brilliant.
Thank you very much. Have a great weekend.
Yeah, close on that, because that's about as strong as I'm going to get. Thank you.
Thank you, my friend.
Thanks,
Stephen.
The poll, by the way, has flipped.
No!
Strawberry now leads 53 to 47. And we have
peanut butter strawberry jelly time.
Strawberry jelly time.
Yeah, and we have comments on it. Michael Severe, outstanding vote. The better question is, which is the better jam? Because jelly don't shake like that.
Oh my
Yeah,
God!
there is when you go
Indeed.
to jam, and but
I
like
can't
Strawberry also wins that
I
category.
can't believe Miami-Dade County came in for you.
It happened when you lost Texas.
Oh my goodness! Yeah,
But you gained
Sarah,
sip.
man. When you got that Sarah Baker Hansen endorsement, that's when I knew it was over.
I told you this is going to go all the way to the wire. This might go game 7.
You said 5 games.
I know I was wrong. I'm going to take the L here. I'm going to enjoy a game 7. Best words in sports.
What was the late vote? Did you buy votes on Twitter?
I haven't even voted. But
No,
I'm
he's
gonna
been hosting a
I'm
radio
gonna
show.
Vote right now.
Got to find those votes for grape jelly.
53.2 to 46.8.
There we go. Big Rich, Texas. Grape jelly is for children.
No, you're wrong. You're wrong. You got to find those votes for grape jelly.
Husker Recruit, go Big Red. Strawberry equals red. See what you did there.
It's okay. You'll be fine.
No,
You'll be fine.
I'll be okay.
Yeah.
Man, he looks defeated. Now I want to go buy him a kitten for here.
I can't get a kitten. I can't get Marvin the kitten.
But you don't have to take him to Chicago. Somebody will watch him
But
here.
then but the hair gets on your clothes, and then you have to always
that's
wash
true.
the clothes.
Yeah,
and
you
it
just
becomes a
have to
whole
wrap yourself in
ordeal.
a full body condom. Yeah.
I just want Marvin. That's all I want. I just want Marvin.
Harrison was a hell of a receiver.
Brian Edwards is going to join us coming up next with picks to take you into the weekend on 1620 The Zone. All right, it's time to welcome in a guy. You can find his content everywhere. Still not happy that Georgia was able to pull out the victory the other night in Athens against his beloved Gators. But it is the senior handicapper from VegasInsider.com. Vegas B. Edwards on Twitter. It is Brian Edwards. Good Thursday morning.
Good morning, fellas. What's happening?
It's, you know what? So it's the 27th of February. Tomorrow's the 28th because that's how the calendar works. And then it's time for March Madness.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, that Sparty buzzer beater last night. Something else. Were you guys watching it live?
Yes.
Oh, I started screaming, Brian.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Did you have any skin? You have any skin?
I did not, but one of my clients had the under, and I think the under probably could have survived at least one overtime because it won by like 30 points and change. So I was just kind of rooting for it. And actually, Michigan State was on my list yesterday. It just did not quite make the cut. I leaned Michigan State. After last night, they're now 5-0-1 against the spread with 5 outright wins in their last 6 as an underdog. But I'd seen it like move up to 4.5, 5, and then I went to the gym and I came back and it was down to 3.5, and I was like, felt like I missed my window. And then I was just looking at plus 160 money line, and I was like, maybe I should put a little on that, and I never did. But anyway, I was happy because my client had it in a 4-leg parlay, and it was leg 3. He was going off 2 legs from the previous night that I had given him, and then he had Boise finishing it. And he played big, so he won big. So I was rooting for him.
Nice.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about the total much around here because there was a college basketball game in the Big Ten in Lincoln, Nebraska on Monday night, B, that the total was 151.5, and the two teams didn't even make it to 100.
Yeah, that was a rock fight. Nobody besides Bryce could score for Nebraska.
Yeah. Okay, let's jump in. So there's an interesting story that's going on the West Coast with UC San Diego, which is eligible to be in the NCAA tournament. They've been on a heck of a run. They got an interesting game tonight against Cal State Northridge. Let's start there. How are we feeling about UC San Diego?
Feel good about them. I've only backed them a couple of times, but it's worked a couple of times. And I'll go back to them laying a very reasonable number tonight. UC San Diego, for those unfamiliar, best against the spread team in the country at 21-5. They're also 24-4 straight up. They've won 9 games in a row, both straight up and against the spread. They've won by at least 11 in all of those, but they've won by 20+ in a bunch of them. 19 of their 24 wins this year by double-digit margins. They already played CSU Northridge this year, albeit at home, but they won 79-54 as a 10-point home favorite. And they have beaten CSU Northridge 7 in a row, both straight up and against the spread. They've won by at least 6 in all those. They've won by double digits in 4 of them, and they're only laying 5.5 or 6 tonight. Let's go UC San Diego, and then maybe get a little baby play for a lot less on UC San Diego. -3, hopefully -3. That's what I played it at in the first half, or 3.5. I'd be okay with.
I like that. Summit League. That'll make a lot of people around here happy because Omaha is atop the Summit League. St. Thomas and North Dakota playing tonight in St. Paul. You like the over in this game. This is a big total, but it seems like every total in the Summit League is big.
Yep. I'm going over here. And by the way, side note, Gary, I've had quite a few Omaha Mavericks overs, and they've been good to me as well.
Yep.
But yeah, tonight, North Dakota and St. Thomas, they played January 4th, 88-80 for 168 combined. The over 17-8-1 overall for the Tommies. But one of their unders last week had a combined score of 165 that would have gone over tonight. The over's 18-8 overall for North Dakota, 13-4 in their last 17. And St. Thomas, 5th nationally in field goal percentage, 6th in three-point accuracy, 8th in scoring. And KenPom ranks St. Thomas number 1 in effective field goal percentage, and North Dakota's number 349 out of 364 D1 teams at KenPom is defensive efficiency. Let's go over. I got 161. I think it might have ticked a little higher. I'd be okay all the way to 162.
Yeah, there are going to be a lot of points scored in that game. Hey, so there's a couple of big games on Saturday around here. Creighton goes to Cincinnati. Xavier is playing for their NCAA lives. They need a Creighton win on their resume. Then Nebraska is on must-win against a Minnesota team that got dinged by Northwestern. Let's first start, look at headlines. What do you think the Creighton-Xavier line will be for Saturday at the Cintas Center?
Yeah, I'm thinking Creighton 2-ish. It'll be a tight one. I think Creighton will be favored. Boy, Xavier really needs that one, and more. But yeah, I think Xavier 2-ish, and I don't think I want anything to do with that one. I think Xavier's kind of dangerous at home there.
Nebraska, you think will be 7-8 point favorite at home against the Gophers?
Yeah, I mean, Minnesota has won 3 in a row and 4 of 5 on the road, but man, they had a tough little home stretch here the last week, losing by 12 at home to Northwestern and by 9 to Penn State. But man, I had UCLA finishing a money line parlay when Minnesota was at UCLA on the 18th.
Yeah.
And UCLA went 5 of 15 free throws second half. Minnesota came back and won, and that was a late night ouch for me. So I guess I kind of respect Minnesota on the road. But yeah, I think Nebraska 7 or 8, and I would need Nebraska to probably be like 6 or fewer to play them.
Hey, for the next 2 nights, we only have 2 Power 5 games, but then we get to the Saturday slate, and you know this because you're in that country. The SEC is in line to get about 13 teams in, and it seems like every night it's like, wow.
Yeah.
Like Auburn last night just reminded people, hey, we're the best team in the country. I mean, they only turned the ball over 8 times against a Chris Baird Ole Miss team. They throttled them. Huge weekend in the SEC. What are the lines are we looking at for Auburn at Kentucky, then Texas A&M off an upset? They got to go to Gainesville off of an upset, and then we get Bama and the Vols in Knoxville.
Awesome. Yeah, I got those Gators 8.5 against A&M. If it's single digits, I'll be on the Gators. A&M has lost 3 in a row, and the Gators have been really good in bounce back mode. So when they were off the Kentucky loss, they beat Tennessee by 30. When they were off the Mizzou loss, they beat Texas by 24. When they were off the Tennessee loss, they beat Vandy by 11. And so here's the 4th bounce back spot.
Wow.
So I made Auburn -4 at Kentucky, but that was before last night's game. And then Jackson Robinson re-injured the wrist and didn't play in the second half. And, and I'm not, Lamont Butler played pretty good, but I don't know if he re-aggravated the shoulder. I feel like the announcer said something about that late in the game. I was kind of going back and forth from other games, so I didn't see it if he did, but I feel like the announcer said that. So if Robinson and Butler are both out again, Auburn's going to be more than 4.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know about those guys. I made the Vols -2 at home to Bama, but I think they'll be more than that. But the live lines have been so good to me lately that I don't know. Like I would normally say if I could get Bama, like I'm thinking Vols would probably be 4. My number's 2. And I would probably say Bama, if I can get 5 or more, I'll go with them. But the live lines have been so good to me. I think I'd rather just wait and see if the Vols get a 6-point lead early, and maybe I can get Bama plus 7 or 8 or better. So I can rip off the rest of my SEC lines if there's time. You tell me.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go.
All right, I've got Arkansas -3.5 if Sierra doesn't play. Sierra was out last night. I got a -5 if he's back. I made Ole Miss 8 at home to Oklahoma. I made Mississippi State 8 at home to LSU. They'll probably be more than that. I kind of like how LSU's playing, though. And here's a good one, man. Mizzou at Vandy, who I think are 2 play-on teams.
Yeah.
Mizzou, I got -4. And then UGA at Texas, I got Texas -6.
Beautiful. Hey, Brian, we'll go from college basketball to the UFC next week, UFC 313. It's going to be a banger of a card. You got Jalen Turner versus Bahama Modis. That's going to be one hell of a fight. You have some contenders fight between Lemos and Luciendo in the women's strawweight. And then the main event, absolute banger, Pereira versus Ankalaev. That's going to be probably Pereira's toughest task yet to date. But There is one great fight in the co-main event. The last two, these guys fought, Justin Gaethje and Rafael Fiziev. It was a majority decision for Gaethje. This is a short-term fight that kind of got put together last minute. Should be a banger. What do you think it's going to be?
Well, first off, let me say I love Pereira at minus 115 to minus 120 against Ankalaev. But as far as Gaethje, so I owe Dana and the UFC an apology. When I saw the matchup, I think the tweet was like 13 minutes old, and I retweeted it and said I was disappointed. But then I saw Gaethje's tweet. He said that they tried Moicano. He said no. And by the way, Gaethje said they understandably said no.
Yeah.
They tried Oliveira, Mack, Moicano, several other guys. So I was initially disappointed with Fiziev, but now I'm not. Now, because Gaethje listed like 7 guys that said no.
Yeah.
Fiziev, I thought won round 1 barely against Gaethje, but I thought Gaethje just dominated him in the second and third. I know, Gaethje's kind of getting old at 36, but he's had almost a year off from the Max knockout, and he had won his 2 previous fights. And Fiziev, who knows how much he weighs? He hasn't fought since tearing the ACL. He's got to travel all the way across the world and, probably have a tough weight cut on whatever it is.
Ridiculous weight
how
cut.
How many days notice it is?
Yeah.
11 or 10 or 11 or something.
I think it's 12 days, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I like Gaethje as a small underdog. I saw plus 112 at Bet Rivers, plus 110 at Bet Online last night. I like Gaethje. I know he's going to have that moment. He's been in so many wars where we're like, okay, oh man, age and father time have got him. But that's not what happened in the Max fight. Max landed that spinning back kick right to his nose, and he broke his nose at the end of the first round. And, it was a struggle from there. Anyway, I think Gaethje's still in good form. I like him as an underdog.
Hey, fantastic. That's great stuff. Have a wonderful sports weekend. Enjoy the hoops. And when we talk again, we're into March and we have brackets. The ball will be tipped on Sunday with conference tournaments.
Yes. I love it. Thanks, fellas. Y'all have a great weekend.
That's Brian Edwards, our senior handicapper from Vegas Insider. Have a great day, everybody.
54 to 46 is what we're going to close at for the show today.
Peanut butter, strawberry jelly time.
Yes, in favor of strawberry.
Really, really good game tonight over on 1180. The voice of Creighton women's basketball on the road, Glenn Sisk. And then on CBS Sports Network, UConn Creighton from Stores.
Hell yeah.
That should be a fun one to watch. We'll discuss tomorrow. More on football. Safe travels to Chicago for the weekend.
Thank you. Should be great. Thanks, boys.
Enjoy the world's largest truck stop.
We'll do. Maybe not, but I'll see you boys Monday. Get it back going.
All right, we'll be back in tomorrow at 6. Crossovers coming up next on 1620 The Zone.